A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. Ladies, isn't it a grand and glorious thrill to hear the family praise a special dinner of yours? Of course it is. And you can bet that compliments will come fast and furious every time you serve Kroger quality beef. What a tasty treat. Tender? Yes, ma'am. Delicious? Yes, sirree. Why, it's just brimming with flavory, rich juices, with delicious tenderness. Just think what a wonderful thrill it'll be for you to surprise your family with a tender, juicy steak, or a crusty brown roast of beef. Or perhaps the folks at your house go for savory beef stew, or boiled beef with horseradish. Well, no matter which main dish you choose, you'll find the delightful goodness of Kroger quality beef will please the entire family. Remember, Kroger quality beef is carefully selected from the best beef on the market today. And not only is it the best grade of beef available, it's also priced for real thrift. So be sure to visit your Kroger store soon, the only place you can buy it, and get Kroger quality beef. It's deliciously tasty and tender, and it's available now at your Kroger store. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Penny Gibbs has successfully completed her strange work for Mrs. Carrie Carlton, and gangster Arnold King has been captured by police. And today Penny returns to Rossville with Johnny Keith and the mysterious stranger, Barry Smith. The trio are now in Johnny's car driving in from the Rossville airport.
You haven't said a word since we left the airport, Mr. Smith. What's wrong?
Nothing, Miss Gibbs. Just nothing to say, I guess.
Well, you're feeling better than you did yesterday in New York.
Yes, I am, Mr. Keith. Well, maybe it's just the country air.
It always makes me feel good to get back to Rossville when I've been away.
So maybe it's not the air. Maybe it's the place.
Oh, I don't know. Rossville never seemed like much of a place to me.
Oh? You've been here before, Mr. Smith?
Are you kidding?
Mr. Smith, Johnny doesn't know about you.
Oh.
I didn't tell him because I
Well, don't bother to explain why, Miss Gibbs. I know. You want to keep your friends. And if you have any, keep them. A friend is a rare commodity.
You speak as though you don't have any.
I don't.
Well, look here, from the way things look to me, Penny's a friend of yours.
The lovely lady here, I never saw her before yesterday afternoon when you two came to my room. She'd never seen me. I don't think we should be called friends.
All right. If you'd rather we wouldn't.
I'd rather we wouldn't be. It was your job to come to me yesterday. It must have been a nasty job, too. How much muck did you have to wallow through to get to me, Miss Gibbs?
Not too much.
I think it was plenty, and I hope you were paid well.
I would have done it for nothing.
Don't make me laugh.
Now, look, I think someone should change the subject before someone gets hurt. Where can I drop you, Mr. Smith?
Well,
Johnny, we're not dropping Mr. Smith anywhere. We're taking him to
look, Miss Gibbs, if you don't mind, I'd rather not go there today. Tomorrow, perhaps. I'd really like to rest a little, sort of think things over before I, you know.
Yes, I know.
There's a hotel here, isn't there?
Well, I'm beginning to see you haven't been in Rossville in a long time, Mr. Smith. There are several hotels in Rossville.
Oh, there are. Well, the old place has grown, hasn't it?
Yeah, but look, why stay at a hotel? There are plenty of rooms at my house and a good home
No,
meal.
you've done enough for me, thanks.
No, but it wouldn't be any trouble. There are several empty rooms in the house. It was built for a big family.
Oh, and it doesn't house a large family now.
No, only 4 of us. And one of us is a very tiny little girl.
More of a tiny little girl than you.
Returning to Rossville's put you in good spirits, hasn't it?
Well, I don't know whether it's Rossville or you, Miss Gibbs.
Hey, what is this?
Oh, nothing, Mr. Keith. Just a test to see whether you fit into the picture, and the test was successful.
Look, Mrs. Smith, you will stay at my house, won't you?
No, I don't want to impose. If I had the courage, I'd go where I belong this evening, but one of my troubles is a lack of courage. It always has been.
Oh, that's silly.
Well, where do you want me to drive, Penny? Straight to your house?
Yes, Johnny, please.
No, look, drop me off at one of Rossville's hotels. It doesn't even have to be the best. Just one with a room and a
Now,
bath.
will you listen to me a minute, please? You're going to stay with us.
Well, come on now, let's decide. I have to turn off up here if I'm going to Penny.
I've already told you, Johnny, we're going to my house.
We'll go to a hotel.
My house. Now, that settles that. Anyway, you know something? You and I have a few things to talk over, Mr. Smith. And I think we can do it much better if you spend the night at my house.
Well, all right, if you insist.
Thanks, I do.
Look, do you accept, Mr. Smith? I must know because it's time to turn off.
Yes, I accept. Make your turn.
Yeah, but be careful when you do make it. It looks kind of slippery.
Side seat driver.
Yeah, I don't care. I make this turn every day, several times a day. And the city never sands it properly on icy days.
Oh, it's not icy. Now, you watch.
Yeah, I'll watch. Johnny!
It's all in knowing
No,
how.
it is icy. Look, Johnny! Johnny, we're skidding.
Holy mackerel.
Hold on, Miss Gibbs. We're going to skid into that post.
Everybody all right?
I don't know. I haven't opened my eyes yet.
You all right, Miss Gibbs?
I think so, Mr. Smith.
Well, go ahead, somebody. Say I told you so.
Oh, Johnny, I wouldn't say it. You must feel badly enough. Is the car badly damaged?
I don't know. Let's get out and see, huh?
All right. Probably not much. We slowed up plenty before we hit that post.
Where did we hit? The back wheels?
Well, I think so. Probably nothing but fender damage. Boy, it sure is banked in, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. Sure looks ugly, doesn't it? Yeah. I guess we'd better call a garage and have it straightened. Looks as if it's pressed in there against the tire.
Oh, garage, you crazy?
Hey, wait a minute. Let me see it, too.
Oh, it really looks much worse.
Yeah, but I want to
than
see it, Johnny. The noise it made, I thought we were turning over.
Well, the accidents with least damage make the most noise. This is really nothing. Smith, would you give me a hand and we'll pull this fellow away from the tire, huh?
Sure. I'm not certain I know what to do here.
Well, it's nothing complicated. Here, just pull up on the bent part of the fender.
Oh.
I'll pull here.
All right.
Ready?
Ready?
All right. Here we go. That's got it.
What do you mean that's all there is to it?
No, that's all there is to it.
Well, what do you know? For the first time in my life, I've done something useful.
For the first time. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Smith.
You're sure that's all the damage, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm sure this is all. We just skidded sideways into the post. If we'd hit head on, I'd say maybe we'd knock the differential.
Look, Keith, I'm impressed with your knowledge of automobiles, but I'd be much more impressed on a warmer day. Let's get back in the car and head for Miss Gibbs' fireside, shall we?
All right. Sorry. Here, let me help you in.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'll help her in, Keith. You shine in the mechanical department. At least let me show Miss Gibbs that I know how to be a gentleman.
Put another log on the fire.
Sure, Penny.
Oh, God, it's good to be home again.
And work all done, huh?
All done.
There we are. How's the new log doing?
Oh, that's a really beautiful fire.
Well, I guess I'm just an arsonist.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, it's too bad our friend Smith didn't want to stay down. He seemed to like the fireplace.
I guess it's been a long time since he's seen a fireplace, Johnny.
Oh, what makes you say that?
Because I know where he's been and what he's been doing for a long time.
Oh, what?
I can't tell you that, Johnny. Maybe I never can. Johnny, I want him to tell you himself.
Oh, yeah. I doubt if Smith will ever tell me the time of day, except grudgingly. The way he acted before he went upstairs to rest, I thought he hated me.
Oh, it's just his manner. I doubt if he hates anybody. As he himself said, well, he just doesn't have any courage.
You know, I've been thinking.
What?
You know a lot about him, don't you?
Oh, I wouldn't say I know a lot about him. I know a little about him.
Oh. Who is he?
Barry Smith.
No. I mean, who is Barry Smith?
Well, Barry Smith is not really Barry Smith.
Oh, fine. I guess that much.
Oh, you did.
Who is he actually?
Johnny, look, I can't tell you that because I just don't think it's fair until my job is over.
Well, I thought it was over when you found him in that rooming house in New York.
Well, the worst of it was over then, Johnny. The hard and scary part of it. The part that had me frightened. But, the job won't be over until I take him someplace. and leave him.
Well, this all sounds too mysterious. Take him where?
Well, if I told you that, then I'd be telling you who he is.
Oh, I see.
Oh, you see.
Uh-huh. I see the whole thing.
Oh, well, if you do, keep it to yourself. I'm not a very good actress, and if you told me what you're thinking, and you are thinking the right thing, then the look on my face would give me away.
Okay. I'll give you a break this time, young lady. I'll just keep what I know to myself.
Thank you.
Look, Penny, I hate to leave such pleasant company and such an attractive fire, but I really have to go.
I'm sorry you do.
I'm sorry, too.
Johnny. Thanks for everything.
Oh. You're not sorry I came down to New York and sort of butted in,
Oh, you didn't butt in. It was nice to have you. I'll tell you something else. It was easier seeing Barry Smith for the first time with you along. I was kind of scared about going to see him. I didn't know what he'd be like.
Well, do you know what he's like now?
No, I don't. He's kind of strange. I half like him, half fear him. And somehow, Johnny, I have a feeling I'll always feel that way about him. Never knowing whether he's... No, let me help you with the dishes.
Oh, no, thank you, Miss Gibbs. I'm almost done.
No, I told you not to start them until I was ready to help. You must be tired.
Oh, Crickets, I'm not a bit tired, Miss Gibbs.
I don't know why you aren't.
Oh, I don't know why I should be. There wasn't much to do while you were gone.
Yeah, but I brought home a lot of extra work for you.
No, you didn't. Oh, you mean Mr. Smith?
Mm-hmm. He was very rude at the table, Nora. I hope he didn't hurt your feelings.
Oh.
But the meal was wonderful.
Oh, I thought it was, too. It was just something Mr. Smith didn't like, that's all.
I think he did like it, Nora. I just think that he didn't know what to say to show his appreciation, and he said the wrong thing.
No, he didn't, Miss Gibbs. He just didn't like the idea of a servant eating at the table with him.
Now, you listen, young lady. You are not a servant in this house. You're here because I need help. I need help with the baby and the house. And you're the only person I can trust with either one.
Oh, thank you, Miss Gibbs. And, Crickets, I know you don't think I'm a servant, but Mr. Smith does. He's the kind of a person who thinks anyone who does work is a servant.
I think maybe he is, Nora, but don't let him upset you. He won't be here tomorrow, and I'm sorry I invited him to stay here tonight.
Oh, I don't blame him for feeling the way he does, Miss Gibbs. Crickets, it's the way he's been taught to feel.
What do you mean, Nora?
I mean, I can tell by looking at him. If he isn't very rich, he was. And if he isn't in very high society, he used to be. And he used to be very handsome, and he still is.
After the way he treated you, you can call him handsome.
Oh, Crickets, he's almost beautiful, Miss Gibbs. Of course, I know how a person looks doesn't show how a person is. Take Freddie Lang, for instance. He isn't very pretty, but he's beautiful inside.
So, Barry Smith isn't exactly a perfect person, is he? Just who is he, and why did Penny go to so much trouble to find him? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Lady, we'd like to have a private word with you. There's something important we want you to know about beef, and it's this. The best beef that's available on today's market is Kroger quality beef. Yes, Kroger quality beef is deliciously tender and juicy, and it's your own 100% correct answer to what shall I have for dinner. Now is the time to serve the dinner that's sure to please everybody. Now is the time to thrill your folks with a delicious beef dinner. Surprise them by serving boiled beef with a tangy horseradish sauce to enhance the goodness of savory meat. Delight them with roast beef that's crusty brown and juicy red. Or satisfy those vigorous appetites with a magnificent steak. Whatever their favorite may be, your family will be thrilled with the delicious tenderness and juiciness of Kroger quality beef. So don't delay. Visit your neighborhood Kroger store for the finest beef values in town. Be sure to remember this, ladies. Remember that Kroger quality beef is available only at your neighborhood Kroger store. It's an exclusive Kroger feature. Beef that's carefully selected from the best beef on the market today. And not only is Kroger quality beef the best grade available, it's also priced for real thrift. So be sure to get Kroger quality beef at your Kroger store. Be sure to join us again tomorrow, same time, same station, for another thrilling transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, a quiz program does not always improve your IQ, but what's an NBC radio quiz program? Well, you can be sure it'll improve your disposition. Yes, NBC offers listeners a laugh lesson every Wednesday night with 2 fun-filled question-and-answer shows. One is Truth or Consequences, and though you may never learn why a chicken crosses the road, you'll howl as contestants perform the stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey. The other is You Bet Your Life, and with a quizmaster like Groucho Marx, your good time is always guaranteed. Hear Truth or Consequences and You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx tomorrow. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. Tonight, Project Trojan by Ernest Kenoy. Most of the greatest contributions and biggest messes in history have been made by 2 kinds of brains, the devious and the literal. We quote from the monthly column written for Galaxy by its editor, H.L. Gold. For our story tonight has been inspired by one of his recent columns, discussing the exceedingly thin line that sometimes lies between science fiction and science fact, and of the strange use that both Allied and German intelligence made of science fiction during the recent World War II. Our report, of course, is entirely fictional, but similar schemes are known to have been attempted by both sides. And now, here is Project Trojan.
The idea of Project Trojan was originally conceived in February of 1943. The Intelligence Plans Commission, an adjunct to Joint Army and Naval Intelligence, was under the command of Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick. The first antecedent of Project Trojan occurred on an afternoon in February. Corporal Arthur Muggeridge was serving tea to Lieutenant Maurice Withering and Captain Amos Mackenzie.
Here you are, sir. That's real butter on the bread. I won 5 pounds of it from one of those Yank mess sergeants over at the Crown and Land.
Oh, butter, eh?
Aye, sir.
Mackenzie. Well, confounded man, you might show some interest. Here Muggeridge tangles with the 8th Air Force to improve your tea, and you sit there reading. And what the devil is so engrossing?
No, never mind. If it's me you're worrying about, you needn't, sir. I was cleared for most confidential and top secret before I set foot in the pantry.
What is it, Mackenzie?
Well, I was reading about a fascinating notion. It's a machine, you see, dreadfully ingenious. It's a method of setting up a reverse polarization field about a given metallic surface, say the plates on a submarine or a tank. Makes them 5 times as strong. A little more cream, Muggeridge. It's powdered milk, sir. Hush, leave me to my illusions.
Well, Mackenzie, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize what this means? Tanks 5 times as strong? Is it in production? I mean, when do the first models go into combat? It's certainly been a well-kept secret.
I wouldn't say that. There's about 50,000 people who know all about it here in England. And, of course, a great many more in America.
Oh, that's impossible.
But I doubt if it will ever be used in combat.
You're stark raving crackers. A secret like it. Where did you find this? Now, let me see that.
There you are.
Incredible science fiction.
It's an American magazine.
You mean this is a story, one of those Jules Verne things? You've been pulling my leg.
Aye?
Well, I mean, after all... Well, Captain Mackenzie, I hardly think that... Well...
Now, don't get stuffy, man.
After all, to chaff me before the ranks.
I don't mind, sir. But it did have you going, didn't it?
Well, it sounded plausible. I don't know a confounded thing about electrical fields.
Even if you did, it might take you in, huh? You see, the trick these science fiction lads do is to take something that's solid as a rock and then to push it just a wee bit forward till you simply can't tell where the science ends and the fiction begins.
Still, I wish you'd exercise your ingenuity in deceiving Jerry rather than me.
Good Lord. That's a fine idea.
What is?
If an intelligent, brilliant officer and gentleman like yourself might be taken in by a wild tale like this, whom else's leg might we pull? Huh? Muggeridge, another bread and butter sandwich, if you please, and take one yourself.
Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie worked out preliminary plans for Project Trojan and presented them at an appropriate time to Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick.
Sit down, Withering, Mackenzie.
Oh, thank you, sir.
We had breakfast. I understand Corporal Muggeridge has been playing darts with the Yanks again. There are fresh eggs for breakfast.
We've had breakfast, sir.
Oh, well, then.
We have a plan, sir.
Oh, capital.
You remember, sir, our intelligence reports indicated a concentration of German research scientists working near Hanau.
Certainly, I recall. They've got the whole lot of them inside a mountain. We tried bombing. I doubt if they even noticed.
They're supplying the basic research for the German guided missile program.
Yes, we know that. The reaction motor for the V1s came out of the Hanau lab. Oh, Muggeridge!
You see, sir, if a considerable number of those research scientists were diverted to another project, the rocket program would be crippled.
Yes, well, of course it would. What are you going to do? Advertise in the Times and offer them high wages?
I said...
Oh, Muggeridge, this coffee.
No, sir.
Next time you go to the Crown and Lance, keep coffee in mind, will you?
Aye, sir. Only the Yanks are getting fair dives at darts. It was touch and go with the Yanks.
Oh, we can only expect you to do your best.
I'll try, sir.
Well, now, come to the point, gentlemen.
Suppose the Germans got hold of one of our top new development weapons. Something so completely overwhelming that they'd have to pull almost every man off rockets to work on it.
Now, look here, Mackenzie. Those Jerry scientists are not exactly playing about with small boys' chemistry sets. They're a cut above our own chaps in several fields. What makes you think you could plant something on them?
Science fiction, sir.
I beg your pardon?
You see this magazine?
Yes, incredible science fiction. What's that chasing that girl there?
That's a Martian, sir. You can tell by his tentacles.
Mackenzie, are you stringing this along preliminary to applying for compassionate leave on the grounds that you're overworked?
No, sir. It's a good plan. We invent a weapon that might exist but doesn't. And we leave it lying about where the Germans can snap it.
And then they take most of the scientist fellows off the rocket program to work on our weapon.
And that's the most preposterous nonsense I've ever heard.
But, sir...
I don't want to hear anything more about it.
Yes, sir. I suppose she was right.
Who was right?
This Wren. I met her going up to London. Rather proper little type till you got to know her. But then she's rather a firebrand.
Captain Mackenzie, please spare us the sordid details of your off-duty peculation.
Sorry, sir. You see, she's the secretary to Admiral Sir Alan Grummins. They're talking of dropping this unit. They feel that other intelligence groups are quite competent to handle the routine, unimaginative work that we've been doing.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
Of course, they'd reassign personnel.
Mm-hmm. Would you say this science fiction scheme of yours was imaginative?
Oh, it's practically visionary.
Well, suppose you do some preliminary work.
Thank you, sir.
Routine, eh? Unimaginative, eh?
Bah!
On the 14th of February, preliminary work was begun on Project Trojan. At first, Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie worked alone, researching the source material of the project.
Slamming the firing keys, brick blasted down on the Krull warship. Bright beams of crisp destruction lanced out from the giant dreadnought and licked along the plates of Brick's one-man scout.
Nothing in that one.
What have you got?
It's a story about two robots who fall in love.
What's the name of that Johnny who came closest?
Herman. Jad Herman.
He got half a dozen ideas that are close. Where do you suppose he is?
Somewhere in the States, I suppose.
That's no use, then.
Why? Look, man, perhaps we can put a query through Central Chafe Intelligence. The Yanks ought to be able to dig up this Herman chap for us.
No. It's worth a try.
It took 7 days for a report to reach IPC that one Jacob David Herman, a private first class in the American Air Force, was based on a field north of Cheltenham in the Gloucestershire area. Lieutenant Withering and Captain Mackenzie requisitioned transport and visited Herman at his place of duty.
You don't mind if I go ahead with my job, do you? I gotta have this place ready for inspection by 1300.
Go right ahead.
Hand me the cleaning powder, will you, please?
Oh, yes.
What do they put in porcelain in England? You break your arm trying to get it clean.
Private Herman. You are Jad Herman, writer?
Yeah, that's a pen name, Jad. I use it for SF stuff. I used to write for the Confessions under the name of Cynthia Herman. I remember one article. I was saved by the YWCA from a life of shame.
We're interested in your science fiction articles at the moment.
Oh, yeah? Well, I know we had some sci-fi fans in England.
Well, we're not exactly sci-fi fans. We're from... Anybody else here?
Well, look for yourself. There's no hiding place down here.
Well, we are from Intelligence Plans Commission.
Uh-huh.
We need your assistance, Mr. Herman.
No kidding.
We have a project that calls for your particular talents.
You got a latrine needs cleaning?
We're quite serious, Mr. Herman. Will you kindly pack your things and be ready to come with us within 1 hour?
Oh, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I couldn't possibly leave until after inspection. I've got too much of myself invested in this latrine. But after that, I'm at your service.
Private First Class Jacob D. Herman, 329-62126, was transferred on special detached duty to Project Trojan, and after briefing was set to work on basic plans.
Well, look, Mac, here's the way I see it. If you want to con a scientist, you got to be pretty straight all the way. You can't get away with more than one phony step in the process.
Precisely.
Now, here's the way I see it. It's a focusing beam weapon. The electronics on that is square. I used it in a story about 2 years ago. Feinschreiber at MIT and Temple and Westover at the Bell Telephone Laboratories worked out the basic field formulas.
I mean, it's real.
Well, up to a point. Everything's on the level till you get to the catalytic action on the grid. Now, that just won't work. It's a basic problem in physics, and it makes the whole thing impossible.
But don't the Germans know that?
Oh, sure. You see, you make up plans for the weapon, call it a death ray. You let the Germans steal everything but the catalyst formula. They'll think we've got it licked, and they'll break their necks trying to duplicate it before we put the weapon in production.
I see. But we can't call it a death ray.
Well, how about projector, electronic grid deflecting type 3?
That is a broad ring to it, my lad.
I've got the basic idea of the thing, but you'll have to get some of your science boys to work it out.
We'll put a requisition into the Manpower Commission in the morning.
Doctors Montague, Felder, Harrison, Seisenby, and Pilsudski were assigned to Project Trojan, and under the direction of Private First Class Jacobs, complete specifications and plans for projector electronic grid deflecting type 3 were drawn up. Project Trojan was ready for Phase 2.
Have we got everything? Blueprints?
Check.
Specifications?
Check.
Machine tool inventories?
Check.
Letter rejecting the plans from the War Office?
Check.
Endorsement from Supreme Headquarters rejecting plans?
Check.
Note from 10 Downing Street overriding rejections, handwritten postscript, build the confounded thing, WC.
Check. Don't you think that's going a little too far, the rejections?
Not at all. That's the master touch. A rejection of an idea by the War Office makes it appear most genuine. All right. Private Herman, if this thing were real, if it could be built, what would it do?
Oh, don't ask. You could blow a hole in a mountain 10 miles away. Well, you could knock down a whole wing of bombers without even aiming.
Oh, dear. Lucky it won't work.
I should say so. Oh, well, now to get this lovely thing into Jerry's hands.
Phase 3 of Project Trojan was commenced on the 15th of March, 1943. Central Counterintelligence Agency had discovered the infiltration of a German agent, a Belfast Irishman named Gogarty, into the blueprint division of Clark and Porchester, a printing firm doing some subcontract work for the Air Ministry. Gogarty, the German agent, presumably microfilmed the plans because shortly thereafter he received word that his sister, living in the Irish Free State, was to be married to a bus conductor. British agents attending the wedding disguised as farm labourers lost track of Gogarty for several hours due to circumstances beyond their control.
Then we have no way of knowing whether Gogarty delivered the Project Trojan plans.
Well, sir, there was a submarine sighted the day before off the coast. It's likely he made contact.
Well, keep me informed. That's all we need now, another disaster.
Did something else go wrong?
No, jolly well right. Muggeridge has been playing darts with the Yanks again.
Oh? What have we got this time? Butter or beefsteak?
Nothing. The blight has lost my whole month's whiskey ration.
Now the cover operation supporting Project Trojan was undertaken. A battalion of the Royal Engineers was detailed to practice at secret installations with wooden mock-ups of the projector. A lance corporal in this detachment, a volunteer afterwards awarded the George Medal, was court-martialed and sentenced to 7 years hard labour for revealing information about the project while drunk on a 3-day leave to Tynecastle. This particular aspect of Project Trojan has been in the news recently, inasmuch as several backbench Labour members of Parliament have asked questions in the House, as it came out that the corporal served the full 7 years and wasn't released until 1951. The Home Secretary explained that this was an unfortunate oversight, and there were jeers from the opposition, with Mr. Anoyden Bevan taking the occasion to call for the resignation of the government. At the time, March and April 1943, the Intelligence Plans Commission awaited reports from British operatives.
Sir, there's been a shift in assignment at the research laboratories at Hanau. Professor Schlickmann and Doctors Hirsch, Van Sulau, and Grishman have been transferred from rocket research to another project.
Trojan?
We must assume so.
But that's only 4 men.
But they're the top experts in electronics, chemistry, and metallurgy. If they're really working on Trojan, we've set the German rocket program back a year, while their scientists go yelping off after a red herring.
Well, let's hope so. Bring me any further reports as soon as received.
British intelligence reports, filtering back through occupied Norway and neutral Sweden, continued to indicate the success of Project Trojan. 4 more top scientists were known to be transferred from the rocket research base at Peenemünde to the Hanau laboratories. Definite knowledge was obtained that the new assignment was a startling new weapon, agreeing in detail with Project Trojan.
What a sally, Mackenzie. What a stunt.
Yes, sir.
We shall have to have a little party to celebrate. We'll have that Herman chap in for a drink. I've been sending Muggeridge off to play darts with some of the Free French over at Germain Manor. He ought to be back soon with the champagne. Pour all round. Private Herman?
Thank you.
All right now, to the projector, electronic grid deflecting type 3. The biggest fraud since the South Sea bubble.
Colonel Bostwick.
Oh, Withering, take a glass. We're just drinking to Trojan.
Well, I think I'd rather not, sir.
Well, what do you mean?
There's a dispatch from Germany.
What about it?
A section of the mountain overlooking Hanau has disappeared.
What?
It's true. It was on the reconnaissance maps yesterday, and it was gone this morning. A 10-mile slice of mountain.
That's impossible.
Oh, it isn't. It works. Trojan works.
But it can't. There's no catalyst. It's impossible. All our scientists said so.
Well, I guess they were wrong. It works.
They must have found the catalyst.
I suppose we should have foreseen that. All those scientists working on it.
They must have built the model and tried it out.
It won't take them more than 3 months to put it into production.
Well, there goes the war.
Muggeridge.
Aye, sir.
Fill the glasses up again.
Intelligence Plans Commission now waited for additional dispatches concerning the reaction to Project Trojan in Germany. It was decided as a matter of policy to confine knowledge of these latest developments to the personnel of the project.
Anything new, Mackenzie?
No, sir, except that aerial reconnaissance confirms the damage to the mountain at Hanau. It's not quite as extensive as the first dispatch, but it is a bit of a hole.
Oh, what do they think caused it?
The Air Ministry seems to feel that an ammunition dump must have blown up.
Couldn't that be it?
I'm afraid not, sir. We have an intelligence report about several captured British and American tanks being brought to Hanau for testing. They were spotted the next day, completely destroyed.
Trojan?
Trojan. There's been an alert at factories producing parts for V-1 and V-2 rockets to prepare for retooling.
They're going to make the projector?
It would seem so, sir.
Well, I suppose I'd better go up to London tomorrow and make a clean breast of it.
I'm afraid so, sir.
Well, that's the end. Seems rather unsporting, doesn't it? Just handing the war over to them. I hate to think what the War Office will say. Not to mention the Prime Minister.
Project Trojan was nearing its closing phase. At precisely 0600 the next morning, Colonel Sir Harold Bostwick ordered his staff car and, taking a thermos of tea, proceeded to leave his office. Just before the staff car got underway, Lieutenant Withering appeared with another dispatch, accompanied by Captain Mackenzie and Private Herman.
Colonel Bostwick, sir. Wait.
So what is it, Withering?
Another dispatch.
No, don't, please. It's bad enough.
There's been another disaster at Hanau.
They knocked another mountain with our little present to them?
No, sir. They've knocked themselves out.
What?
The laboratory under the mountain. It's exploded.
It has?
Went up like a Roman candle. We've got pictures. There was a flight of mosquito bombers over at the time.
What happened?
The projector. It backfired.
How do you know?
It had to. That's why the catalyst is impossible. You see, the metal fatigue on the grid is a function of...
Never mind. Are you sure?
Yes, sir. We have a reliable agent's report. The Germans are completely confused. They were operating the projector under a top-secret designation. Nobody knew any of the details except a dozen scientists working on it. And they were inside the laboratory when it blew. Our man was in the rescue squad. There isn't a thing left, sir. Plans, models, or scientists.
Sir, do you realize that Project Trojan was a success? We've diverted a dozen top scientists from the rocket program permanently. Well, do you think we'll be decorated?
Lieutenant Withering, inasmuch as we came particularly close to handing the whole war to the Germans on a silver platter, I suggest we forget Project Trojan.
Oh, yes. Yes, I see. Of course.
You're very canny, sir.
I think we had all better return to precisely what we were doing before the whole nasty mess started.
The final phase of Project Trojan was completed on the 22nd of March, 1943. The file, through some inadvertent error, was lost before the Intelligence Plans Commission had a chance to report to the War Office. All personnel returned to their previous assignment.
All right. No splashing on the floor. I gotta get this latrine ready for inspection by 1300.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features the William Tenn novelette Time in Advance, the story of a man who made a strange bargain and endured the worst the galaxy had to offer, so that someday he could make the Earth sweat. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Project Trojan, an original story by Ernest Kenoy based on an idea contained in an editorial in Galaxy written by H.L. Gold. Featured in the cast were Burford Hampton, Alastair Duncan, Ivor Francis, Alfred Shirley, Bill Quinn, and your narrator was Alfred Hislop. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, Wherever You May Be, by James E. Gunn.
Hey, you. A little girl. You on the fence.
Yeah?
Hey, kid, come here.
Well, I'm right comfortable where I am.
Listen, kid. Is there a service station on this road?
Well, Merv Wheelock got a gas pump at the general store.
Oh? How far is it?
About 18 miles.
Oh, that's a big help. Well, I don't know what else to expect in the middle of the Ozarks.
You want me to help you, mister?
No, just keep out of the way, kid. Ow! Well, there's nothing funny about that. You just gonna sit there and watch me sweat, kid?
Oh, no. There'll be lots more to watch.
Well, I don't know what's so amusing about watching a man change a flat tire. Ow!
You sure you don't want me to help, mister?
No, I'm perfectly capable of changing a tire by myself.
Look out, mister. It's rolling away.
What?
Your tire. It's rolling away.
Hey, come back here, you. Well, this is the most sadistic tire I ever... Now, stay put. Why don't you go home?
Can't.
Why not?
I run away.
Oh, that's tough. There. Now, listen, kid. You know a cabin about 15 miles up the road?
I reckon.
You know where the turnoff is?
There ain't no turnoff. You just drive till the road peters out and you take the footpath. You gonna live in that place?
Mm-hmm. Just for the summer.
Oh.
Well, so long, kid.
Oh, mister. Hey, mister.
Now what do you want?
Well, nothing. Only you forgot your jack.
Oh, that does it. Where are you going?
No place.
Thought you said you ran away.
I surely did.
Don't you have any relatives?
No.
Friends?
No.
All right, then, go on home. Oh, come on now. What are you crying for? All right, get in. I'll give you a lift. Now, listen, look out for those notes. There's over a year's work in those.
Oh, a year's work in them pieces of paper?
Uh-huh. Those are notes for the thesis I'm going to write.
You write stories?
No, research paper. I have to do it to get my degree at the university.
Well, what's it called? I mean the story you're writing.
It's called The Psychodynamics of Witchcraft, with special reference to the Salem trials of 1692.
Oh. Witches?
Yeah. All right, where do you live, kid?
Well, I can't go home. Pa'd beat me again. Oh, he pretty nigh skinned me alive, I guess.
You mean he hit you? Little kid like you?
Well, he don't use his fists. Not often. He uses his belt mostly. Look here. On my knee. See that black and blue mark? And this one?
Never mind. Why does he hit you?
He's just mean.
Oh, he must have some reason.
Oh, he wants me to catch some strong young fellow who do the work around the place. A gal don't bring in no money, he says. Leastwise, not a good one.
You're much too young to get married.
I'm 16.
You don't look more than... Well, I don't know.
Most girls my age got a couple of young ones. One, anyways. The way Pa carries on, you'd think I didn't want to get married. Now, it ain't my fault no fellow wants me.
What seems to be the trouble?
Mostly, I guess I'm just unlucky. One fella I went with pretty nearly a year. He busted his leg. Another nigh well drowned when he fell in the lake. Now, it don't seem right they should blame me. even though we did have words.
Blame you?
Well, they say it's courting disaster instead of a gal. Fellas, just stop coming round. You married, Mr.
Matthew Wright. No, I'm not married.
Wright. Abigail Wright. That's right, Purdy.
Abigail Wright?
Oh, did I say that? Now, ain't that funny? My name's Jenkins.
Mr. Jenkins? Oh, fine. I met your daughter on the road. I brought her back. Look, Mr. Jenkins, I got a pint bottle in my pocket. Care for a little drink?
Terrible week.
Well, I'm sorry. I repeat, I brought your daughter back.
Why?
Well, she had no place to go.
She ran away.
Now, look, Mr. Jenkins, I realize that teenage daughters can be a nuisance, and after meeting your daughter, I can understand how you feel. Still in all, she is your daughter.
Got my doubts.
Now, Mr. Jenkins, your daughter may have given you good reason to lose your temper, but beating a child is never sound psychology.
Beat her? You mean wallop her, whale her? Man, I never laid a hand to her. I dasn't.
But she said...
Come in here.
Oh, now, Mr. Jenkins, I assure you...
Come in the cabin. You look around this here room, mister. See them dishes all over the floor, those chairs all splintered like they was kindling, that table turned over bottom side topmost like a turtle on the road? You think I beat her?
Well, the place is a shambles.
I ain't saying Abby did it. But when she gets unhappy, things happen. Dishes come flying through the air. Funny things happen around Ab. Ever since she started filling out 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, she's only 16.
16? Don't let on I told you, but she's past 18. There, you see?
Oh, it just fell off the shelf.
Well, look, you're a city fella, passable looking. Why don't you take her with you?
What? Oh, now, wait a minute, Mr. Jenkins.
But she's right pretty when she fixes up, and she can cook right smart. Go on, take her.
Well, you must be mad. You can't give a girl away like that. If you'll excuse me, I think I'd better be going.
Nobody asked you to bring her back. The gal eats more than I do.
Oh, now, look, here. Here's $10. Buy yourself a jug.
Well, I'd like to, but I can't do it. It ain't worth it. You brought her back. You can take her away.
Oh, here's 15.
Well, I should know better. All right, mister.
I'll get her.
It ain't no use, though, I can tell you, mister.
All right, Abigail. Get out of the car. You're home.
But, Pa...
Oh, he isn't mad at you. He's welcoming you back. Now, come on, get out.
Dirty, nasty old man. Serving right if that bottle he's pulling busted right over his head.
Goodbye, Abby. And remind me never to see you again. All alone. I'm so all alone. There is no...
Hello.
What are you doing here?
Waiting for you.
But listen, this is my cabin. I rented it.
I know. What kept you?
Well, what are you doing here? How did you get here?
Oh, I reckon you're hungry. Look, why don't you sit down? Supper's about ready.
Now, wait a minute. I came here by car. How did you get here?
Well, I rode. Oh, it's lucky I did. This place needed a good sweeping.
Is that your broom?
I know. It was here in the cabin. Pa loaned me a mule. I let her go. She'll get home all right.
But you can't stay here. It's impossible. What would people say?
Well, who'd care? Pa don't. Oh, please, Mr. Wright, let me cook and clean for you. I won't be no trouble. Honest, I wouldn't.
Oh, now, look, Abby, you're a nice girl, and I like you, but you'll just have to go back to your father. Do you understand?
All right.
What? What was that? What happened? Oh, look at that, the car. I must have left the brake off.
You reckon it's hurt bad?
Well, rolling down a 10-foot grade into a tree didn't help it any.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, Mr. Wright.
Are you? Well, anyway, it looks like you'll have to stay here tonight then, doesn't it?
I reckon.
I could have sworn I put that brake on. Listen, you're going back first thing in the morning.
Oh, sure. Sure, Mr. Wright. I understand.
Abby, tell me something. Who wrecked your father's house?
Libby.
Libby, huh? Who's Libby?
The other me. Mostly I keep her bottled up inside. But when I feel sad and unhappy, I just can't keep her in. Then she just lets loose and goes wild.
Schizo. Abby, where did you get an idea like that?
Well, when I was born, I had a twin sister. Only she died real quick. And when I was bad, my ma used to say Libby would never have been mean or cross or naughty. So when I'd done something bad, I started saying Libby done it. I guess after a while, I begun to believe it myself.
Can you control it, Abby?
Not much. You see, when I get feeling mad and mean, things just happen, that's all.
How about a rolling tire?
You sure did look funny. Oh, I was just feeling mean about Pa, I guess, and I took it out on you.
I don't believe it. It's absolutely impossible. It's primitive. It's straight out of Fraser's Golden Bough. There's got to be some explanation. Illusion or hypnosis. There's got to be some physical explanation.
Well, I don't see why. I mean, if a thing just happens, you don't have to explain it. It's just there, ain't it?
All right. Here. Now, make that cup move.
Why?
I want to see you do it.
But I don't want to. I never wanted to do it. It just happened.
Oh, come on, try.
Now, no, Mr. Wright. Look, it never brung me nothing but misery. It's bad enough when you can't help it, but it's worse when you do it on purpose. Nothing good will come of it.
Come on, try. I want you to. Move that cup. Now, go ahead, Abby. Just move it without touching it.
I can't. I just can't.
Why not? Why can't you?
I don't know. I guess it's because I'm happy.
Oh. You can't move it now.
No.
All right, then get your things. You're going back to your father right now.
No, I ain't going. I can't.
Listen to you. You're a stupid backwoods girl. Can't. What kind of a way of talking is that? You're going back to your father because you're an ignorant, dirty hillbilly. Abby, you did it. You did it. It came right at my head.
Do I have to go back?
Oh, no, sir. Not if you help me. Abby, I've got a hold of something here that... What a thesis! Abby? What's, courting like here in the hills?
Oh, sometimes we walk and look at things together and talk a little. But if the night is warm, we just sit and hold hands and whatever.
Like this?
Mr. Wright, do you like me a little bit? Oh, not marrying like, but friendly like?
I like you very much, Abby. Very much.
Oh, Mr. Wright. You kiss real pretty.
Abby, what happened to your fellas? I mean, the other boys.
Well, folks said I'd the evil eye. I mean, Hank fell off the roof and broke his leg, and Gene, well, he fell in the lake and liked to drown. It wasn't my fault it was after we'd had words, now was it?
No.
Mr. Wright, you're shivering. Maybe we'd better go get your jacket.
Abby, tomorrow we're going to drive to Springfield to do some shopping.
Really, Mr. Wright? Why, I ain't never been to Springfield. Oh, ain't that wonderful? Mr. Wright.
Are you happy, Abby?
Oh, it's the happiest I've ever been in my life. I mean, eating in a fancy restaurant and even dancing and all. And now us just sitting here together in the moonlight. I never thought anything like this would happen to me.
Abby, I'm afraid maybe you don't understand.
Well, what do you mean, Mr. Wright?
Oh, you know that dress I bought you? That's for another girl.
What?
Oh, it's for another girl. I'm going to marry her. She's about your size, and I thought we could pick it out that way.
Oh, no, Oh, Mr. Wright.
Abby, wait a minute. Where are you going? Wait, I want to talk to you.
No, I'm going to bed.
Matthew Wright, you are a no-good, miserable cad.
You want any more coffee?
You still feel bad, Abby?
You want me to move that cup for you today? I can do it real good.
How do you know?
Well, I just got a feeling. Look.
You can do it now?
Sure, I guess. There, it's getting easier.
Look, Abby, I want to get some things out of the car. I just happen to have them things for tests. There may be other powers.
Well, I don't care much one way or the other, Mr. Wright. If it makes you happy, it's all right with me.
Abby? Abby, where are you? Abby, where did you go? Abby?
Here I am, Mr. Wright.
Abby, where were you?
Springfield.
But that's 50 miles.
I know. I just kind of wished I was there, and then I was. I brought back a frying pan I admired in that hardware store window. Ain't it pretty? Got a real copper bottom.
Didn't you have any trouble getting out of the store without anyone seeing you?
Well, I was outside, but I could see in the back room somehow, too. I knew his name was Albert, and he was doing a crossword puzzle.
Now, how could you tell all that?
Well, I just kind of looked inside of his thinking. Like this.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Abby, don't.
I could look right inside your thinking now, Mr. Wright.
Abby, wait a minute. Abby?
You wouldn't. You didn't.
Now, wait a minute, Abby. You've got to understand.
I understand everything you've been thinking, you devil. Well, there ain't nothing too bad for anyone to do that.
Well, you've got to let me explain.
You with your kindness and your city manners. How could you do it? You made me fall in love with you. It was just a trick. You just wanted to make me unhappy, that's all. Why, even Pa was never that mean. I'd as soon marry up with a rattlesnake.
Well, Abby, what are you going to do?
Well, I haven't made up my mind yet. But I'll think of something.
Some way out of it. She's in that other room thinking what to do to me. I've got to think of some way. No, it's no use. As soon as I think of it, she knows. Oh, got to keep my mind busy. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as maybe if I could get her father. No. If there are 2 outs and bases loaded, or men on first and second, and a ball is hit, which, in the opinion of the umpire, can be handled by an infielder, the infield fly rule shall be invoked, and the batter is called out. The base runners may advance at their own peril. Their peril. I've got to think. No, I mustn't think. Oh, no, she's absolutely certain now she can do anything she wants to. I've got to act on the spur of the moment, keep my mind crowded with something else. Oh, it's a lovely day. Breathed there a man with soul so dead. 'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. Froggy went a-courting, and he did ride, sword and pistol by his side, ring Tom Body Michicambo. Full fathom 5 my father lies, of his bones are coral made. Seabirds hourly toll his knell, hark, I hear them, ding dong dell.
That's pretty.
Abby!
Where are we going?
Oh, Abby. What are you doing here?
I couldn't let you leave without me. I've got plans for you.
Oh?
Very interesting plans.
But how could you tell I left? I was thinking all sorts of other things.
Mm-hmm. Matt, you were thinking some of the cutest little rhymes. Oh, but that was on top.
On top?
Why, sure. Way underneath, I could hear plain what you were thinking about running away in this old car.
Well, then why didn't you stop me? Conk out the motor or something.
Oh, I didn't want to. I told you I could see way down underneath the top of your thinking. And you know what I found there? All the time, even when you were making me unhappy to test all them strange things I learned how to do, way down deep, you're in love with me.
I am?
Surely true. So, we're going to get married.
Are we?
Mm-hmm. There isn't much you can do about it now, is there?
No. No, I suppose not, but... You know, it's a frightening thought getting married to you, Abby. A wife who can read your mind and all the rest.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about it, darling. Why, I can only do those things when I'm downright miserable. Everything will be perfectly all right. Just as long as you keep me happy.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Early Model by Robert Sheckley, the story of a man who found that invulnerability was a fine asset when opening a new planet, provided you don't overdo it. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Wherever You May Be, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by James E. Gunn and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were William Redfield, Patsy O'Shea, and Jack Orrison. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Be sure to hear X-1 one half hour earlier next week over most NBC radio stations. Check your local newspaper for the exact time. This is the NBC Radio Network.
On the magic island of the South Seas, time is very precious. The mad scientists who call themselves Euclideans measure time in seconds because they are too busy to use minutes. When Mrs. Gregory, Captain Bradford, and Jerry Hall landed the Gregory yacht at the island and found Mrs. Gregory's long-lost little daughter, Joan, they thought the idea of putting such value on time was ridiculous. Now time has become very precious to those on board the captive Gregory yacht. It is just after 8 o'clock at night. Captain Tex Bradford has been gone 15 minutes. Trying to swim out through the ring of fog and gas surrounding the island and release one of the little homing pigeons on which so much depends. A sudden electrical storm sweeps over the weird island as Mrs. Gregory, Jerry, and Joan huddle in the radio cabin on the yacht.
This is a terrible storm, Mother. Are you not glad your boat is safely moored to the pier here now?
Oh, this storm wouldn't hurt the boat, Joan. We came through a couple of them on the way down here.
On Euclidia, we hardly noticed such a storm, as all the quarters are soundproof. But on this boat, it seems very terrifying.
You will learn to love the natural things, Joan, dear. Things that are merely terrible in a natural way if we ever get off this horrible island.
Well, I'm going back to the engineer's quarters and wait for Tex there. I'll let you know the minute there's any news.
You will be careful, will you not, Jerry? I would not like anything to happen to you.
Hear that, Mrs. Gregory? Joan's getting kind of stuck on me.
I am not stuck at all. You see, I am quite free to move at will.
You mustn't mind Jerry, my dear.
His expressions are a little puzzling at times.
But, Jerry, one time you say, I am stuck up, when I am not sticking up on anything. And now you say, I am stuck on you, when I am not even near you.
Oh, I ain't got time to teach you any better now. I got to get back on duty where I belong.
Oh, Jerry, the storm is bad, isn't it?
Yeah, I can make it all right. See you as soon as Tex gets back.
Will Jerry be quite safe, Mother?
Yes, Joan. He has only a few feet to go along the deck to the engine room. There's not enough wind to make the footing dangerous.
I am glad of that. Jerry is a foolish boy, but he is also a nice boy. And I should not like anything to happen to him.
Joan, this storm, all that lightning flashing around the island, what effect does that have on all the electrical devices the Euclideans maintain?
I'm afraid I do not understand just what it is you wish to know.
This magnetic ring of fog around the island. Will the magnetic force be maintained through this electrical storm?
Yes, Mother. Euclidia has been struck by lightning during many storms, but G47 and his assistants have developed some means of carrying the lightning off without harm to the island or instruments on it.
Yes, of course they would have protected themselves. Then even in this storm, Tex will have the danger of the magnetic ring as well as the gas.
Oh, I was stupid about that. I might have told you.
Might have told me what? Is there something different about the magnetic ring in a storm?
Not the magnetic ring, but the gas rain. The rain will so dilute the gas, which is very soluble in water, that there will be little or no danger from the gas.
Oh, that's wonderful, Joan. I only wish Tex knew that. It would save him the trouble and danger of trying to swim underwater beyond his endurance.
I think the clever captain will have figured that out for himself. I remember he said he was sure the gas would not be effective in water.
Then he should remember that and swim on the surface.
I think so, Mother. And with the rain, he would swim on the surface without danger of being seen.
And Tex can swim and float for hours. Oh, what a relief that is, my dear. The storm came up about 10 minutes ago, when Tex had been gone about 5 minutes.
He would, of course, swim beyond the ends of the piers before he released the pigeon.
Yes, of course he would.
And the piers are 200 feet long. Then it would take him some time to get the pigeon safely out of the celluloid swimming suit, and he would start back after discarding the oxygen tank. He has hardly had time to return, Mother.
You're right, dear. And he wouldn't hurry back. In fact, he would stay beyond the end of the pier as long as he was swimming easily and naturally, because his return might attract attention. But did he get out safely?
Oh, I think you need not worry about that. The alarm would have sounded before this if he had not safely passed the protection ring.
But that storm, the lightning flashing. Look, Joan. It lights up this room as if it were day, and through that tiny port. What if lightning strikes the island while the captain's swimming through the magnetic fog? Oh, Joan, what of that?
Mother, that is a terrible thought. I know the scientists use the magnetic ring of fog in some way to carry off the lightning and ground it into the water.
It was just as if Tex was swimming through the very thing that had been built to handle the discharge. Just as if you held a lightning arrestor in your hand during a storm.
I'm afraid that would be it, Mother.
Oh, Tex. Why doesn't he hurry? I'm going to call Jerry back from the engine room again. He may have heard or seen something of the captain.
No, Mother. Jerry has his place there, waiting for the captain. And we have our places here, waiting for them both. It would not please the captain and Jerry if we did less than our duty.
Joan, you're the most wonderful daughter in the world. You have more courage than your mother.
What is that? The signal to submerge. Mother, this is going to be something of danger and terror, I think.
To submerge? You mean to submerge the island?
Yes, Mother. I told you the island could be submerged so that a boat could pass over the top of it.
But, Joan, do you realize what that means? This yacht is tied to the island, this boat. What will happen to us? And Tex is swimming out there somewhere. Joan, what?
There is the location signal. 5 strokes on that gong after the signal to submerge. That means at this pier, Pier 5, where this yacht is held fast.
But what exactly can that mean? Is it possible to submerge only one section of the island?
No, I am not sure I understand that signal. Unless... Yes, it could be. There is an anchorage lock at this pier. I think your yacht is to be drawn inside the island and submerged.
This yacht submerged?
Yes, floated within a lock under the island floor, and then submerged with the island.
What did that mean, Joan?
The submerging operation has begun. This boat is now being lowered between the piers.
But, Joan, we'll drown. This boat can't be submerged.
It will not be submerged as you mean it, Mother. It will be...
Hey, Mrs. Gregory, do you know what's going on?
Why, Joan says they're going to submerge this yacht.
Yeah, the water's going down right now in the space between the piers. They're going to take the yacht into a lock under the island someplace.
But Tex, he isn't back, Jerry.
Well, no, Mrs. Gregory, he isn't.
Oh, Jerry, that is very bad.
Well, can't he get back now, Joan?
No, Mother. Unless the captain could have been within the slip formed by the two piers here, he could not get in without being seen. The ends of the piers are now joined by watertight gates to allow the space between them to be used as a lock.
I'm going out there and try to find Tex.
Oh, no.
No, you're not.
Jerry.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Gregory. I don't mean to be rude, but you're not going out there.
Yes, I am, Jerry. I can swim. And if Tex is out there in that water alone, hopelessly shut off from the island, I'm going after him. He won't know what's going on here. He'll be afraid to return for fear of giving away the escape of the pigeons.
Now, look here, Mrs. Gregory. Captain Bradford is in command of this boat. He gave me my orders, and I'm going to carry him out.
Jerry is right, Mother. The captain would want you to stay here.
This is my yacht. I'm going after
Then
Tex.
you'll have to lick me to do it, Mrs. Gregory. I'm sorry to act like this, but orders are orders. And the last thing the captain told me was to keep you on board if I had to tie you in a chair. And I'm going to do it.
Jerry, you're doing what you think is right. But the storm is over. And I'm going to swim out there while I've still got a chance.
You have no chance now, Mother. These locks empty very rapidly. And by now the water is not even covering the lock gate at the end of the pier. You could not swim out. And if you tried to walk out to the end of the pier, you would be stopped by a guard.
But Tex out there, how will he get back?
Now, look here, Mrs. Gregory. You've got to buck up and face this thing. We don't dare let anyone see us worried about a thing. They don't suspect yet that Tex swam out with that pigeon. And if old G47 got wise to that, he might do something that, well, so Tex couldn't ever come back.
John, what do you think about it? I don't seem to think very clearly where Tex is concerned.
Jerry is right, Mother. We must act as if nothing had happened to frighten us. We will be quite safe, of course, when the yacht is taken inside the island. It will float in the submarine lock just as safely as it does here. But if we act nervous, it could only be for one reason, that we were worried about someone not on board.
That's the idea, Joan. And as long as G47 thinks Tex is with us, he'll find some way to get out of the water and back on the island without the Euclideans knowing what he was doing.
Well, at least we can go out on deck and see what's happening.
I think that would be all right. Do you not think so, Jerry?
No, I don't. I told the skipper and the engineer to stay under cover, and I think we'd better do the same thing. If they see us on deck without Tex, they'll know he isn't aboard.
Oh, I suppose you're right. But it seems so terrible to just sit here and do nothing while this boat is being taken inside the island. How will Tex get back to us? How will he know what's happened?
I guess he'll figure that quick enough, all right. When he finds the gate closed at the end of the pier, then he'll have to swim around to one of the other piers and walk right up on the island.
Oh, that will be bad, Jerry. Then G47 will know the captain has been in the water, and it will take them only a few minutes to discover that a pigeon has been sent.
Oh, that doesn't matter. The pigeon's gone, and I'm willing to chance at getting to Johnson's boat. If only Tex is safe.
I'll feel a lot better when he's back on board with us. Gee, there's Tex now.
Come in.
Oh, it's G47.
It is I.
What do you want here?
I merely wanted to assure you there was no danger. Your yacht will be safely taken into a submarine chamber on the island, and all on board will be quite safe.
Then what?
Then the island will be submerged completely.
Oh, Mother, the island, it will all be submerged.
You mean there won't be anything left above the water?
Not a thing. Nothing for a man to hold on to or walk upon, for example. But, of course, as you are all on board, you have nothing to fear.
No, we have nothing to fear.
Precisely. However, if one of your party was absent, say, out swimming around the ends of the piers...
Yes, Suppose? What then?
The unlucky person would soon drown, swimming around where this island once was.
The magic island is going to be submerged. The Gregory yacht is slowly sinking below the surface of the island as the water is pumped out of the lock in which the yacht has been held. G-47 has just left the radio cabin after assuring Mrs. Gregory and Jerry and Joan that they were quite safe on board the yacht. Captain Tex Bradford left half an hour ago to swim outside the rings of fog and gas surrounding the island and release a pigeon to Johnson's boat. The yacht is ready to be drawn into the island's submarine lock. The giant pumps have lowered the water in the lock to the level of that within the island, and the boat rides easily. But in the radio cabin, Mrs. Gregory, Joan, and Jerry are terrified.
I'm going out on that deck, Jerry. Orders or no orders, I'm going out there.
But, Mother, Captain Bradford said you were not to do that.
Oh, might as well go now, I guess. We didn't fool anybody.
You think G-47 knew Tex was out there swimming when he came into the cabin just now?
Yes, Mother. G-47 was smiling and quite pleased with himself. And when he looks and acts like that, it is only because he has done something particularly mean or terrible to someone.
That's what I thought, too. You know, when the old guy said we needn't worry if we were all on board, he knew we weren't all on board. So we might as well go out on deck and watch how this thing is done.
G-47 must have known we would be going out. He didn't even close the door.
G-47 knows nearly everything that everyone is going to do, almost before they know it themselves.
But if Tex is out there somewhere, swimming beyond the end of the pier, he'll be helpless. What can we do about it?
Nothing right now. But Tex has probably got some ideas of his own, and I'll bet this island don't do any sinking without his getting on it.
But that would do him no good, Jerry. If he were not admitted to one of the chambers, he would only drown when the island was completely submerged.
Oh, I can't stand this any longer. Come on, I'm going out on deck.
Gee, Mrs. Gregory, look at that. Why, we're way below the top of the island.
Yes, Jerry. This lock between the piers is like a great steel aqueduct. Are these piers solid to the ocean floor, Joan?
Oh, no, Mother. Only to the 5th level, and only 2 of them have locks between them as this one has, so the water may be pumped out. The false bottom is steel. From the 5th to the 10th level, the main part of the island is round and smooth, so that it may all be submerged.
You really mean the whole island will go down till the top of it is 40 or 50 feet below the ocean?
Yes. Large ships pass over it easily, and the island is so smooth and tapering toward the top and center that when a ship tries to anchor here, the anchor merely slides over the top of the island.
Gee whiz.
And we can do nothing. Just stand here and wait until we're taken into that lock.
Hey, listen. The pumps have stopped. We must be down.
Yes, Jerry. The water in this lock is now at the level of the water in the lock inside the island. The gate will open into the island now.
There is a lock gate in that smooth wall ahead?
Yes, Mother. See, it is opening now.
Golly. It's opening just as easy and as quiet as everything else on this island works. Not a sound from it.
No, but for the water rushing through it to even up the levels, we shouldn't have noticed it. And how light it is back in there.
The Euclideans use a great deal of light where it will not be seen from outside. All the subterranean chambers are brilliantly lighted.
We're moving. The boat's starting to slide into the lock. Are we being pulled by magnets, Joan?
Yes. The floor of this lock is covered with a series of magnets. The boat is perfectly controlled.
But from where? I see no one. Not even on that ramp along the inside of the lock.
It is all controlled from the central chambers. The position of the boat is clearly indicated by the action of the magnets.
Boy, what a place this is.
And when we are inside, what can we do then?
Hey, wait a minute. The mast is sitting at the top of the lock. It's going to crack.
Well, can't we stop it? I'll gladly unstep the mast rather than break it.
No, Mother, there's no time. The yacht is being put in here because of some emergency. It will just break the mast off. It has happened to other boats here.
Gee, there goes the radio spars. Now we haven't much of an area left.
The mast is nearly broken now. I hope the strain doesn't start the seams in the hull.
Will we be safe standing here?
Sure we will. Those deck plates will hold all right. The whole thing's going to fall on the after cabin there.
Oh, there it goes.
Look out for flying splinters. Gee, that's too bad, Mrs. Gregory. It did a lot of damage.
Oh, Mother, your beautiful boat.
Oh, never mind that. I can get another boat, but Tex Tex.
Quiet, Mrs. Gregory.
Mother, you must be careful.
I know, and I suppose G47 can hear all we say, but I've reached the point where I don't care. Tex is out there somewhere, and nothing else matters to me.
It all seems so hopeless, doesn't it? And you love the captain so dearly. I am very sad for you, Mother.
Oh, me too, Mrs. Gregory. But don't give up hope. Tex is a smart guy. Don't tell him what he's done.
You're just saying that to cheer me up, Jerry. You know there isn't one chance in a million Tex could be safe.
Well, I got a hunch. And when I get a hunch, everything's going to come out slick.
Look, Mother. The stern of the boat is nearly inside the lock now.
Yes, dear. And soon the gate will close, and Tex will be outside in the water. He can't swim forever. So many things might have happened to him.
Take it easy. Please, Mrs. Gregory. You're so swell, and I'm so sorry for you. Well, I could bust right out and bawl like a girl, but it wouldn't do any good.
Oh, you're right, Jerry. You're a sweet boy. Tex would want me to keep my chin up.
Why do you say that, Mother? Keep your chin up. Your chin has not fallen down.
Oh, Joan, my dear. You and Jerry would almost make anything possible.
We're pretty swell, ain't we?
Jerry, I have told you that ain't is not correct.
Well, I know it ain't.
Then why do you insist on saying it?
Yeah, the gate's closing. The yacht's inside. And out there in that cold water, in the dark.
Now, steady, Mrs. Gregory. Don't say any more now. Someone is coming along this ramp, coming toward us. Not a word about how we really feel. You too, Joan. Keep a stiff upper lip.
But how will it help anyone for me to keep my upper lip stiff?
Oh, forget it. Just say nothing. Let me do the talking.
I think you might well be trusted to do it better than the rest of us, Jerry. Yes, someone is coming and making no sound, of course.
It is G47, and that is very strange.
Why do you say that, Joan?
That's what I'd like to know. I don't think anything that guy does is strange anymore.
It is strange that G47 would come down into the submarine locks. He always stays in the main control chamber when submerging and leaves these locks to his assistants.
He's certainly looking the yacht over carefully.
I know what he wants. We should come over here and get it over with. That guy makes me feel like I had some porcupine soup with the needles in it.
I do not understand what you mean.
Never mind, Jerry, dear. Hush now. Here he comes.
Hey there, G47. What's the idea of breaking up Mrs. Gregory's boat?
You will make him angry, Jerry.
I don't want him to think we're worried about anything else.
I must say that you've treated us rather roughly. Might we inquire, G47, what caused the sudden decision to run us into this lock?
You might, and you have. A little later, you will witness an interesting demonstration. If you care to come to the neptoscope control chamber, you will see... No, I shall not tell you. It will be more pleasant to surprise you.
We will be glad to come and witness any demonstration you care to give us.
Sure. Want us to come right now?
I think not until we are submerged. Is that not so, G47?
Precisely, Cleostra. It will have no value until we are submerged. You will bring the dear captain, of course?
Why, yes, of course.
Yeah, sure. We'll bring him, if he wants to come.
I feel reasonably certain Captain Bradford would be very happy indeed to have the opportunity of witnessing the demonstration from within the island. You will be notified when to appear. Then you may tell the captain if you can find him.
Gee, he's gone. Right through that wall.
Yes, Jerry. There are many automatic doors along the walls of these locks. There is nothing about it that cannot be explained, although if you are not watching closely...
Yes, Joan,
seems...
dear, but never mind that now. Did you hear what G47 said? We might bring the captain if we could find him. He knows Tex isn't aboard. He knows we can't find him. He's taunting us. Tex is lost, do you hear?
Here now, Mrs. Gregory. You've got to quit that. Come on, in the cabin.
Yes, Mother. Someone will be watching us, and we must not let them see how we feel.
You take your mother's arm on that side, Joan.
Yes.
I'll open the door when we get to it.
No, Jerry. I'm going to stay right out on this deck. Stay where I can see, where I can watch for Tex.
But there is nothing to see, Mother. We are inside the lock. Walls of steel all about us. We could see nothing, not even the water of the ocean.
Oh, of course, John, you're right, but I feel so helpless.
Just a minute, Mrs. Gregory, and we'll be fixed up all nice inside the cabin. Then we can plan quietly what we can try to do, and you'll feel better. Here we go now. Go right in, Mrs. Gregory.
Come, Mother.
Yes, dear, yes. I'm all right.
Now, just a second, and I'll find the light switch.
Strange, Jerry. We left the lights on when we went out of the cabin.
So we did, Mother.
Yeah, that's right. I guess that falling mast must have put them out.
I put them out.
Gee,
The
whiz.
captain. Oh.
Yes, I put the lights out just as the mast fell. So G47 would think the falling mast had wrecked the wiring, and I could move in here unnoticed.
Oh, Tex. Tex, dear.
There, now, Pat, don't cry, darling.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I have found the light switch.
Well, don't turn them on yet.
Why not, Jerry?
Oh, just because.
But why not, Jerry? I will turn them on. Oh, Mother.
Oh, boy.
No, Jerry, no. Joan did perfectly right in turning on the lights.
Yes, dear, you did quite right.
Well, anyhow, I think they ought to be off on account of G47 seeing in here. He thinks you're drowned, Tex, or still trying to swim around out there.
Well, this cloth will keep anyone from seeing in here. And I've got to tell you the news.
Yes, Tex, what happened? You can see what happened to us.
You know why the yacht has been pulled into this lock? Why the island is going to submerge?
Yes, but one thing at a time. In the first place, the pigeon got away safely. And he's been gone nearly an hour now. That means he's 30 or 40 miles from here on his way to Johnson's boat.
That's wonderful, Tex. And he ought to make it all right.
Gee, that's swell, sir. You did a slick job of it.
But, Captain Bradford, G47 knows you were swimming around out there. He must know it. And he would also know that you had released the other pigeon.
Yes, that's true. And they'll send airplanes or ray guns or something out to fly the pigeon down or kill it.
No, G47 doesn't dare send out a plane or a submarine or anything else.
Why not?
I see no reason,
Because
Captain, why...
there's a large fleet of battleships coming. I heard guards talking on the pier about it. Some large fleet converging on this position to hold battle practice. And the island has to submerge.
Then they can't do anything to stop the pigeon?
Not a thing, son. That pigeon will get to Johnson's boat.
The program you are about to hear is fiction, science fiction. We make no guarantees, however, how long it will remain fiction.
Exploring tomorrow. And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, the editor of Astounding Science Fiction magazine, John Campbell, Jr.
Dreams are a remarkable thing, a remarkable power of the human mind. Freud, the psychoanalytical school, has held very important. But there's one aspect of dreaming that they deny, they overlook, perhaps. That's tonight's story. If someone handed you a photograph of a man's face and said, do you know who this is? Suppose that was a photograph of yourself 20 years from now. You'd have an awful hard time recognizing that. We can recognize a picture of something that we have seen. It is impossible to recognize something that we haven't yet seen. Let's say we have a patient who comes into a analyst's office, a badly frightened man.
Dr. Sharp, my name is Jim Bedford. I got your name from the National Health Trust. They say you're the quick shock analyst they'd recommend in this area.
It's nice of the Health Trust to say that. Builds up my morale in these troubled post-war times.
He speaks very highly of you. I feel so darn silly running to a psychiatrist. That's for old ladies. Maybe we better forget it. I've got a lot of pressing work that I really should be taking care of.
Let's see, Mr. Bedford. Now, according to the data you gave my secretary, you're with the State War Reclaim Bureau.
Yes, that's right. I'm regional director. I've been with the Bureau all my adult life since 1971. Since the Doom War.
It must be rewarding work watching the radioactive ash cleared away, houses and stores springing up again after so many decades, seeing the city itself come back from the rubble, knowing you could take a good share of the credit.
That's going to be a long task, another generation.
Sit down and you tell me about it.
No couch? I thought all you psychoanalysts had couches. This this office building was lucky to escape being hit.
Yes, it's one of the few pre-war buildings left in this part of Sacramento. Matter of fact, it was your War Reclaim Bureau that loaned my family the money to rebuild.
Doctor, why is it happening to me? What am I going to do? I have to stay at my job. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else knows this area the way I do. Nobody knows the people here the way I do.
You were born here, William?
Yes, I've lived in Sacramento all my life.
What is it that's bothering you?
I have some kind of hallucination, and it keeps getting worse. I've tried to shake it, but it comes back bigger and stronger. Now it's getting so that I can't work. I can't do my job.
I'm starting up recall-inducing equipment, Mr. Bedford. It'll put you in a state of semi-sleep for a few moments. I'd like you to tell me what this hallucination is. Then maybe I can tell you why you have it. And maybe help you deal with it.
Through all these damage inventories. Must be 1 million of them stuck in the basket today alone. Oh, I ought to quit and go to bed and get some sleep. Where's the report on that mutant rat they've been killing? One that spins webs. Better okay the extermination program. Poisoned grain probably be best if it eats grain. Probably have to ask for federal aid. Not enough funds to do the job right. Oh, I'll okay the extermination and hope they can raise the funds. Bad enough to have ordinary rodent infestation. Plague carriers, the worst possible sanitation menace.
Menace? Huh?
Oh, it's you, Giller. How did you get into my apartment?
Front door was unlocked. I'm sorry to interrupt your work.
Well, I was about to stop. What time is it? Past midnight. Do you want a beer? I'm going to have one.
Besides, an invaluable brain ought to make beer in these times of need. Must be nice to be a big wheel and have luxuries. Your own stove, refrigerator. You know, I haven't had beer since last May.
You'll survive. You've always managed to. Trade some of that black market coffee of yours or some of those eggs from your chickens.
You know, we lost all our chickens. That blood disease from the old H-bomb blast. Take a look at this.
Your application for aid?
Turned down.
I know.
Why?
Don't ask me why. Oh, okay. I'm the responsible person. I turned it down.
You and I have been friends since we were kids.
So what?
You get a kick out of it, lording it over the people you've known. People who were something in the community before the Doom War. People you had to look up to and say sir to.
I'm sorry about your poultry farm. I'm sorry for all the poultry raisers, you included, and the beef raisers and the walnut growers, but certain things have to be rebuilt before others. Heavy industry comes first. Factories, steel and cement and fuel producers, synthetic fabric.
We're your people.
Good night, Giller. Write me a letter on the proper form.
I'll talk to you in a few days about my application for aid. Maybe you'll change your mind. Come around.
Giller ever got that farm going, he'd be the biggest black market operator in California. $5 a piece for grade A eggs, and he knows where to get it. Everybody trying to swing a deal, make money, cash in on people's hunger. I wonder if he's really gone, or if he's hanging around outside. People like him get on my nerves. I better go see.
Has some kind of fear of a basic insecurity, a feeling that he's faced with a problem that he must solve and can't solve. But he's got to solve it, but he can't solve it, but it must be solved.
Mr. Bedford. I'm falling. Help me, I'm falling.
No, you're not. You're here in my office, sitting in a chair.
Yes. But I was falling. I started to go out of my apartment. I opened the door to the hall, and there wasn't any floor under my feet, just emptiness. And I tried to grab hold of something, and there wasn't anything, nothing at all, anywhere. Just darkness. What happened? happened next? Were you hurt? Doctor, how could I have been hurt? It was just in my mind. Maybe I stumbled or something, but I didn't fall because there was no place to fall.
Momentary dizziness from overwork, fatigue.
Yes, maybe.
And since then you've had a fear of falling.
A phobia. Phobia about high places.
Okay, Mr. Bedford, let's try another recall. Now, this time, I want you to remember more about the falling and your friend Giller.
Oh! Stop it! Don't kill me! Don't throw me over the rail, please!
Shut up! Well, you probably think I'm going to give you one last chance before we toss you off this ramp.
It's not my fault. I tried to get funds. Bureau's short on funds. Terrible task ahead.
He can't hear you.
Bedford, I came to you and begged you to okay our application, but you turned us down. You did all you could to block it.
Black market rebel? Police never seem to get you all. Probably bought off.
That's right, bought off. Now, look, Bedford, for old time's sake, you want to get in on this along with us. I'll let you in. I have a sentimental feeling towards you. I think you sincerely felt you shouldn't okay our application.
I never will. Even if you kill me.
Oh, you mean that?
I got my job, responsibility. Heavy industry comes first.
Remember when there were eggs, how the shells looked when they were dropped? Remember how it felt to crush the eggshell underfoot? How did that old nursery rhyme go about putting the pieces of the shell back together? By the way, Bedford, we're making sure the next regional director isn't so devoted to heavy industry. We're getting in somebody with, shall we say, an agricultural frame of mind?
Okay, let's finish this up and get going. Get him over the rail. It's almost a mile to the ground. How could a thing like this happen to me and be forgotten? Can a person forget being knocked down, kicked, and threatened with death?
It wasn't forgotten. It remained buried beneath, repressed. We'll have to try some more recall, Mr. Bedford. So far, I don't have enough to go on. Now, this business of Giller and his men beating and terrorizing you provides what's called the traumatic incident. The moment of fear that starts the chain reaction of repression going. But, are you willing to try another recall?
Not now, Doctor.
We shouldn't stop at this point.
I couldn't stand anymore. Tomorrow, maybe.
We'd better go on now, Mr. Bedford. Now, from what you recall, I got an impression that there's no time to waste. I don't think they just beat you up and threatened you. I think they did throw you over the rail to your death. I think they killed you.
All right, Doctor. I'll let you start your recall and disengage it again, but don't make me go back to that moment. Something else. I couldn't stand to see them standing there above me. Higher and higher, and then the ramp and the railing disappearing.
This time, I'd like you to think of something pleasant, satisfying. Perhaps a day in your work when you were particularly pleased with what you accomplished.
The public baths. Kids splashing around, lots of hot water. Wonder how many of us would be dead by now. Dead from contamination from the perpetual fallout if we hadn't built those huge pools and fountains over there. The hardest decision I ever made. I felt like a lunatic, giving them the go-ahead. A lot of people were angry about that. But after I saw the figures from the Anti-Radiation Committee, it had to be done. No matter how many people got angry. I know my duty. It's to the whole people, not a few special groups here and there.
You say you okayed the building of mass public baths, and you actually stood and watched the people bathing.
That's right. Togas, like ancient times.
Mr. Bedford, I want you to listen to me carefully. I have something important to say to you.
What's wrong, Doctor?
Well, as a licensed general practitioner, I've been interested in the idea of public baths as an anti-radiation measure. In my opinion, it's a sound idea. But the proposal hasn't yet been put through. No baths have been built. It'll be at least 5 years before the baths can be put into operation. The usual interpretation doesn't quite check. Sometimes the dream isn't man has a dream of the future, it's awfully hard to identify its source, because the source hasn't happened yet.
Tell me, Bedford, you were exposed to a great deal of radiation in the early part of your life, and so were your parents. That's right. We all were. We all went through the blasts and the heavy fallout of the war, the contamination of our food, water, homes, clothing. Do you remember any unusual exposure, either to you or to your parents, radiation approaching a dangerous maximum? Let me try to remember. I'm confused. You think I'm some sort of a freak.
Stop sitting there in the chair insulting yourself. You have to make plans.
Plans? There's nothing I can do. There's no way I can stop him.
Try to remember any toxic dose of radiation, especially in the earliest part of your life. Now go back to the enemy missile attack. Sirens. Can you hear sirens? You're possibly running toward a shelter. Your family running, too. Across a field, maybe.
I'm sorry, Doctor. I've had all I can take. I'll see you again some other time.
You're leaving?
Thanks for the help. I've got to consider all this. Maybe I'm not remembering the future. Maybe it's just a false memory, a neurotic fantasy. How could we check? If it's really in the future...
What's the matter?
I can't get up. What? I can't stand up. I'm afraid I'll fall. Doctor, now I can't even get to my feet.
Well, make yourself comfortable in your chair, and we'll go on with the therapy, as I said we should.
I guess I have no choice.
Now, you know what we're after this time. At some point in your life, you apparently were exposed to a near-toxic dose of radiation.
Wait for me. Hey, don't leave me behind. Come on back. Hey, Tony, wait for me.
Hurry up.
Okay. Let's get down. Get the metal lid off. And listen. They're almost here. Get the lid of the shelter up so we can get down there and be safe.
You scared, Jimmy?
Yes. Open that lid.
Not until you apologize for what you said in class the other day. You said my family moved here because they thought nobody would bomb this sector. You said my family was scared of being bombed. Okay, let's see.
Yes, I remember. When Tony and I were kids during the war. We got the scuffling, seeing who was braver. And while we were scuffling, the first warhead exploded a couple of miles up the coast.
So that's where you got the near-toxic dose?
Yes. The whole place was saturated. Hot. They had to rope off the rubble, close the roads. I was in the hospital for a month, down in the underground medical wards along with the real casualties.
What, you a real casualty?
No, I wasn't hurt. They made all the tests. They found no sign of tissue damage, blood count okay, bone marrow unaffected, no cancerous formations.
But now you know you were affected.
Yeah, I was affected.
Now listen to me, Mr. Bedford. You still have time to re-examine your dealings with Gillon.
You mean give him the bureau funds he wants so he can set up his black market operations?
No, Dr. Sharp.
I have my responsibility to the people of this area. Those funds have to be given to the proper applicants.
Even if it means your life?
Yes, even if it means my life. I'm still not going to give Giller the funds.
I respect you, Mr. Bedford. I can see why the government gave you the job.
I've tried to do it right. I feel proud of what I've done. The hygienic baths, evidently I'll be successful there. That alone makes it worthwhile. I don't feel too depressed. All in all, it was worth it. A lot of people died in the war. My death comes a number of years later, but, well, I can possibly consider it as a bona fide war death.
With honor.
Hey, look, I can stand up now. I'm on my feet. Bringing up that material about the radiation exposure must have done it.
Do you intend to come back again and see me?
No, there doesn't seem to be much of a reason.
I'd like to keep on trying. Maybe there's a junction of possible futures. Some point in time at which we can deflect the future that's waiting for you.
I'll think about it. Goodbye, Doctor. And thanks a lot for trying.
Tony Giller. I'm sorry to bother you, but this constitutes an emergency. I got... Well, it's a compulsion. And it's following up my life.
Sit down. Tell me about it.
I have an irresistible urge to push people.
Push people?
Towards windows, out. What am I going to do, Doc? There was a little shrimp of a guy I pushed once, and one day a girl was standing ahead of me on an escalator, and I shoved her. She was injured. I'm afraid I'll eventually kill somebody someday. Some perfectly harmless person who never did anything wrong in his life.
Afraid of anything. The stone has no sense of futurity, no sense of a future to control. Wherefore, it has no fear. If you can feel fear, it means that you can sense the future. To the extent that you can sense the future, you can control it. You don't have to be stuck with any particular future. If you take the trouble to dream about the future, then you have a chance to do something about the future. If you don't like atomic wars, you have a chance to do something about it, provided you dream that it's there. Nightmare or not, you have a chance to do something.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. When Tumbleweed Jones returned to the ranch with his tank trucks after successfully delivering 6,000 gallons of oil to the Bear River refinery, thanks to Superman, he was amazed to learn that Chuck Connors, his oil field foreman, was in reality a member of the forces that had twice attempted to wreck the trucks. As if that were not enough, Abner Cheney, the unscrupulous local banker who owns the only pipeline to the refinery, suddenly paid a visit to the ranch. In an effort to force Tumbleweed to use his pipeline at exorbitant rates, Cheney played his ace card. He accused Tumbleweed of fraud and possibly murder. As we join them now, the suave banker explains the situation to Tumbleweed and Clark Kent, while young Jimmy Olsen stands by, frowning angrily. Listen.
I'm just stating facts, Tumbleweed. You borrowed a large sum of money from my bank with this ranch as collateral for the loan. Now, I discover you don't own the ranch.
That ain't true. Comanche Joe, give it to me. Lock, stock, and barrel.
Have you got a deed to the property?
What in tarnation's a deed?
Bill of sale, Tumbleweed.
Nobody sold nobody nothing. Comanche, give me the ranch.
That's your story.
Now, look here, Mr. Cheney. I'm just an old cowhand trying to get along. I ain't got no book learning to speak of, but no hombre living can stand up and say Tumbleweed Jones ain't shooting straight.
The facts speak for themselves. This ranch is still owned by Comanche Joe.
Well, why argue about it, Tumbleweed? Comanche can set this matter straight, can't he?
Well, reckon he can. We'll ride over and get one of them deeds from him pronto.
I'm afraid you won't, Tumbleweed. Comanche's disappeared.
What are you talking about?
That's right. He's vanished into thin air. As a matter of fact, there's been a little talk that maybe someone got rid of Comanche Joe.
I think you're going a little too far, Mr. Cheney. You're trying to accuse Tumbleweed.
I'm not accusing anyone, Mr. Kent. I just said there's been a little talk.
What kind of talk?
Well, Some folks are of the opinion that Comanche Joe never gave you this ranch, that you just up and took it. That might account for him being missing.
Why, you dirty, low-down coyote.
Take it
easy, Tumbleweed. Get off this ranch, Cheney. Make tracks
There's
up.
no cause to lose your temper, Tumbleweed. We can settle this between us. All I'm really interested in is getting your oil business. I can close my eyes to the rest.
You let go of me, Mr. Kent. I'll put an arrow clean through his crawling gizzard.
Easy, Tumbleweed. I'll give you 24 hours to make up your mind.
And I'll give you 10 seconds to make tracks, you sneaking, crawling rapper. Let me at him, Mr. Kent.
Go ahead, Tumbleweed. Knock his block off.
Quiet, Jimmy.
You heard what I said. 24 hours before I call in the state's attorney and prefer charges of fraud. And possibly murder.
Why, you...
Better get into your car and leave, Cheney. I can't hold Tumbleweed much longer, and I won't be responsible for what happens.
I'm going.
And don't you never set foot on this ranch again, you black-hearted polecat, or I'll run you so full of arrows you'll look like a porcupine.
Remember, only 24 hours.
I'll get you yet, you crooked, no good weasel.
Yeah, you big fat baboon.
Jimmy, stop that.
Oh, you should have let Tumbleweed pile into him, you punk.
Well, how come you protected that snake, Mr. Kent?
I was protecting you against yourself, Tumbleweed. Can't settle things like this by fighting. Just you calm down and we'll talk it over.
Well, that's easy enough to say, Mr. Kent. But 'tain't so simple to sit still when a man shoves a branding iron on your hide and marks you a crook and a murderer.
I know it isn't, Tumbleweed. It's the only sensible thing to do. You can't think straight when you're hot under the collar. Well, let's figure this thing out logically. Sit down here on the running board of this truck.
Okay. But I ain't much good at figuring things out, Mr. Kent. I ain't used to responsibilities like running a ranch and an oil field, and maybe I make lots of mistakes, but one thing certain is that I ain't never done nothing wrong in my life. That is like breaking laws and such.
Gosh, you don't have to tell us that, Tumbleweed.
Of course, that's taken for granted.
Well, that's how come I get so tarnation hot when anybody says I broke the law. Maybe I ain't got one of them there deeds, but I know Comanche give me this here ranch with no strings attached.
Now, look, Tumbleweed, you don't have to protest your innocence to me or Jimmy. What you've got to do is prove to Cheney that he's wrong.
Sure, that's all. But how am I going to do that?
I still think you should have let Tumbleweed wail the daylights out of that fat baboon.
Quiet, Jimmy. That wouldn't have got us anywhere. Cheney would have just added a charge of assault to his veiled accusations of fraud and murder.
That's what gets me more than anything else. Imagine me harming a hair of Comanche Joe's head. Why, he's my best friend. I'd cut off my bow arm for that hombre.
Of course, it's ridiculous. But the circumstantial evidence built up by Cheney makes it look pretty bad.
Oh, I'll bet Comanche turns up just as suddenly as he disappears.
I'm not so sure of that. Tumbleweed, has Comanche Joe ever just suddenly disappeared like that?
No. He never goes no place without he lets somebody know where to locate him.
Well, then why don't we call up his ranch and find out if they know where he went?
That's not a bad idea, Jimmy. Can't lose anything by trying it. He's got a phone, hasn't he?
Yep.
Well, come on up to the cookhouse. We'll call him from there.
I'd give anything to find that Cheney was lying. The Comanche's at his ranch.
No, Jimmy, if I sized Cheney up right, he knew definitely that Comanche Joe wasn't there, or he wouldn't have played his hand as surely as he did.
Here we are. I'll open the door.
You'd better call, Mr. Kent. I'm still so mad my nerves is jumping like a bucking bronc.
All right, Tumbleweed. What's his ring?
One long, a short, and a long.
One long, short, and long. No one seems to answer. I'll try it again. Oh, here's somebody. Hello? Hello, is Comanche Joe there? Yes, this is Clark Kent. I'm calling for Tumbleweed Jones. Oh, I see. Well, can you tell me when he left? Yesterday? I see. He went to see whom? Oh, I see. And you haven't any idea when he'll be back? All right. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Who was that, Mr. Kent?
That was Comanche's housekeeper.
What'd she say? Does she know where he is?
This is rather puzzling. She said that Comanche got a phone call last night to meet Larson at some spot near Lost Valley to discuss a business deal.
Well, that sounds funny.
Yeah.
Why would Dan Larson want to make palaver over business at night? Did she say when she expected him back?
No.
Golly. Maybe Larson is working in cahoots with Cheney.
Now, Jimmy, don't you go getting no fool notions like that buzzing around your head. Nobody ain't got no right to say nothing like that about a man, less than he's sure.
That's quite right, Tumbleweed, but what exactly do you know about this man Larson?
Well, Dan Larson is my oil broker. Has been ever since I struck oil on this here ranch.
I see. Does he have any other accounts in this region?
Oh, he sure does. He's the only broker in these parts. has an exclusive license for to sell oil to the Bear River Refinery.
And Cheney's pipeline leads to the same refinery, doesn't it?
Well, Mr. Kent, just what are you aiming to prove?
Well, nothing especially. Tell me, hasn't Larson been doing everything he can to sell you on the idea of signing a contract to use Cheney's pipeline?
Why, sure he has. That wasn't nothing but an act of friendliness.
Uh-huh. And wasn't he the only one you told about the trucks being ready to make delivery just half an hour before we arrived here to find them shot full of holes?
Jeepers. Do you think maybe Larson tipped off those men to do that?
Well, I don't know anything, Jimmy. I'm just thinking out loud, trying to fit these pieces together.
Mr. Kent, all I can say is that you're lassoing the wrong cayuse. Why, it's plumb ridiculous to think of Dan Larson as having anything to do with letting daylight through them tank trucks.
Why is it so ridiculous?
Because Larson was the hombre who fixed it with Cheney for me to borrow the money on this here ranch.
Oh, he was, eh? Oh, Tumbleweed, can't you see how all these things tie in together? Can't you see how they all fit into the puzzle too well to be simple coincidence?
Gosh, I can see it.
Oh, I can't. I think you're doing wrong by Larson.
Maybe, Tumbleweed, but arguing about it isn't straightening out your troubles with Cheney.
No, nor is it helping us to find Comanche Joe.
Well, what have we got to lose by riding into town and having a talk with Larson about that mysterious call to Comanche?
Like as not, we'll learn that he don't know nothing about it.
Maybe we will. Then again, maybe we'll be able to pick up a clue about Comanche and Lost Valley. Worth a try.
Sure it is, Tumbleweed. Let's go. I'll get one of the boys to saddle my pony.
Your pony's all saddled and waiting for you, Jimmy. So's a pair of horses for Mr. Kent and me. I told Clem we might be wanting to ride out so's I could show you where Balancing Rock used to be. You take the bay, Mr. Kent. She's smooth riding.
Okay, thanks. Need any help, Jimmy?
I should say not.
All right. There we are. All set?
Yep.
Well, let's go. Yep. Yeah.
Come on.
Gosh, isn't this a beautiful day for a ride? Smell that air.
Sure is. I'd enjoy it much better, but for my worry.
Now, don't you worry, Tumbleweed. We ought to be in town soon, and I've got a feeling we're going to find out something there. Rifle shots. Off to the right.
Who could be shooting out here, I wonder?
Don't know. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Mr. Kent, over there. 2 men on horses. They're riding away.
Well, let's follow them.
No, wait. Look over there on the ground. Is that a man?
Sure is.
Well, he's either dead or badly wounded. Maybe we can help him. Somehow that big body looks familiar. Jimmy, open your first aid kit while I turn him over.
Okay, Mr. Kent.
Great Scott, Tumbleweed. It's Comanche Joe.
Comanche Joe. Dead.
Shocked into speechlessness, Kent, Tumbleweed, and Jimmy stare in horror at the lifeless body of Comanche Joe. And coupled with deep sorrow over the untimely death of their Indian friend is the growing realization that now it will be impossible to establish Tumbleweed's legal right to the ranch. It looks like Cheney has won hands down. What can Kent, even as Superman, do now to help Tumbleweed? Will they ever learn the identity of Comanche Joe's murderer? What will happen? Tune in next time for another episode in this exciting adventure in the West with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. When Clark Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and Tumbleweed Jones found their Indian friend Comanche Joe dead from bullet wounds, all else was forgotten. Tumbleweed particularly was hard hit, for it was Comanche who had given him the parcel of ranch land on which he had discovered oil. And now the generous, lovable Indian was dead. Darkness has fallen, and Kent, Jimmy, and Tumbleweed are eating a late supper at the ranch house. Not a word has been spoken. Suddenly, Kent looks up and breaks the silence.
You haven't eaten a thing, Tumbleweed. Tumbleweed.
Huh? Oh, sorry, I didn't catch what you said, Mr. Kent.
Hadn't you better eat something? A small piece of this beef, it's delicious.
I got no stomach for eating. But you go right ahead. You and Jimmy pile in and help yourselves.
I really think you should get some food inside you, Tumbleweed. I know exactly how you feel.
Oh, but you can't know, Mr. Kent. It'll be a long time before I forget how old Comanche looked laying there in that clump of sage. I never had nobody like Comanche, Mr. Kent. I came to him raw as a hide-off in a bull moose, and he took me, and he did. Taught me all I know about roping, branding, and herding cattle. He didn't come no better than Comanche Joe. No way.
He was a swell guy, Tumbleweed.
Nice of you to say that, Jim boy. Old Comanche had a soft spot in his heart for you. Mentioned it many a time. And you too, Mr. Kent.
I liked him a lot. Incidentally, I wired Perry White and told him what happened. He and Comanche were old friends.
He didn't have nothing but friends, except them polecats that shot him. And if I gotta track them till the day I die, I'll make them pay for it. I've got a pretty fair idea of where to start looking.
What do you mean?
I ain't talking about it till I'm sure.
You might just as well, Tumbleweed, because both Jimmy and I are staying on until Comanche Joe's killers are brought to justice.
You bet we are.
I kind of half hoped you would. Makes it a mite easier when you got friends pulling alongside you. Now, I don't know where we'll put up, but I reckon we'll find a place.
Oh, I don't quite get that, Tumbleweed. You've got enough room at the ranch here for 10 guests.
Well, this ain't my ranch no more, Mr. Kent.
Huh?
Not with old Comanche Joe dead. He give it to me, but neither of us figured there was any call to draw up papers. You heard what Abner Cheney said, that there ain't no deed to this ranch. Nothing in black and white, saying as how it's mine.
Oh, I know, but Comanche made you a gift of the land.
I can't prove it, Mr. Kent. There wasn't no witnesses, except a herd of horses. Me and Comanche was sitting on the corral fence palavering when he up and said, "Tumbleweed, I'm making you a gift of that there 30-acre piece of range over beyond the guts." That's all there is to it, Mr. Kent. No deed, no papers, no nothing.
Well, what happens to the ranch now? Who gets it?
The Comanche tribe.
Is the old chief still alive, Comanche's father?
Yeah. It's spry as a yarrow.
Well, I'm sure if you went to him and told him his son gave you this ranch, he'd understand.
Wouldn't do no good, Mr. Kent. The chief might think kindly about it, but the tribe's got the final say, and they ain't forgotten how white men treated them when this part of the country come to be settled. They ain't getting rid of no land if they can help it.
Yeah, you see, Jimmy, there's a lesson in that. If the white man had treated the Indian as he should have, the feeling between them might have been entirely different. Oh, but Tumbleweed, you can't give up without a fight. It was Comanche Joe's intention that you have the ranch.
It don't matter much, Mr. Kent. What does matter is making the ornery hombres what done Comanche in pay for it. That's all I care about.
You said a while back that you had a pretty good idea of who was responsible. I wonder whether we're thinking about the same man.
The way I figure it, Abner Cheney's hands ain't so clean.
I think you're right, Tumbleweed. Cheney tried to force you to use his pipeline to get your oil to the refinery. The chances are he was responsible for having your tank truck shot full of bullet holes. When that didn't stop you, he somehow discovered that no formal bill of sale or deed existed on the transfer of this ranch from Comanche Joe to you.
I didn't get that far in my figuring.
Seems simple enough.
And you reckon Cheney did Comanche in?
Well, not Cheney himself, but some of his henchmen. You see, in order to make good his accusation that you borrowed money from his bank when you didn't own this ranch, he had to get Comanche Joe out of the way because Comanche would have scotched that fast. You follow me?
Yeah. So they up and shot old Comanche so he couldn't set things straight.
I don't think they killed him in cold blood, Tumbleweed. They probably figured on keeping him under cover for a few days, but he put up a fight and, well, you know the rest.
If that's how it sets, Mr. Kent, cold blood or no cold blood, I got a steel-tipped arrow for every hombre had a hand in it.
I hear a car driving in. I'll take a look through the window.
Who is it, Jimmy?
2 men. They're coming toward the house.
Who are they?
I can't tell yet. Sleeping lizard.
What's the matter?
It's Cheney and Chuck Connors.
I'll fix him, hombre.
No, take it easy, Tumbleweed. Let's have a talk with him.
Talking ain't going to get you no place. There's only one kind of palaver they understand.
Ask them in. There's no harm done.
All right. You say so, but I don't like it. Come in.
Sorry to bother you, Tumbleweed.
I thought I told you to stay off this ranch.
Come in, Mr. Cheney. Close the door, Connors.
I don't want any trouble with you, Tumbleweed. I'm just doing my duty as president of the Lost Valley Bank.
And what duty is that ornery, backbiting rattler doing?
Chuck's been deputized to act in this matter.
That's the truth, Tumbleweed. Here's my badge. Deputy Sheriff badges don't care what kind of cayuses wear them, do they? Even got the sheriff working for you, Cheney.
We won't go into that. I expect you know why I'm here.
Why are you here?
My business is with Tumbleweed, Mr. Kent.
Any business you got with me, Cheney, can be talked out in the open. I got nothing to hide.
As you wish. You owe the bank $15,000, Tumbleweed. I've come to collect it.
I reckon you've come to the wrong place.
Oh, not at all. The loan was made in accordance with your sworn statement that you owned this ranch. I find that statement untrue. And unless you're prepared to repay the loan at once, I'll have to ask Chuck Connors to arrest you for obtaining money on a false pretense.
Reckon he's man enough?
I got you covered, Tumbleweed. Don't try nothing.
Put that gun up, Connors.
I'd much prefer that you didn't interfere, Mr. Kent. This matter doesn't concern you.
On the contrary, it does very much. You know as well as I do that Comanche Joe gave Tumbleweed this ranch, but neglected to file a formal transfer of deed.
All I know, Mr. Kent, is what I see in the county clerk's office. There is no record of change of ownership of this 30-acre parcel. And now that Comanche Joe is dead...
You're ready to take advantage of the situation.
My time is valuable. Have you the money, Tumbleweed?
No, and if I did have it, you wouldn't see one red cent of it.
Arrest him, Chuck.
Here, better come along quiet, Tumbleweed.
What's come over you, Chuck? Got the dry heaves? Your hand's shaking.
I've got a right to arrest you, Tumbleweed. I've been deputized.
It'll take more than a badge to convince me of that.
I demand that you arrest him, Connors.
You're going to hoist your hand, Tumbleweed?
Don't do it. He's yellow.
Gimme. Smacking the bullseye, Jim boy. Yellow as a pumpkin.
You realize, of course, that it's a crime to resist an officer?
Tumbleweed isn't resisting. He's going along.
You gone plumb loco, Mr. Kent?
No, I think Mr. Cheney has a perfect legal right to demand your arrest.
Exactly.
Mr. Kent, you know Comanche give me the ranch. Free and clear.
Yes, I do. But until such time as you can prove it, Mr. Cheney is entitled to protection.
Well, how am I going to prove it with old Comanche stone dead? Shot down by Cheney and his rattlers.
What are you talking about?
I reckon you know, but it don't bother you none. Polecat's got no feeling, just smell.
I have no intention of listening to your insults. Are you coming along peaceably, or will we be forced to use other methods?
You better go, Tumbleweed.
You mean that, Mr. Kent?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Well, all I got to say is the law's kind of twisted up if a hombre who ain't done nothing gets himself hauled off to jail.
You won't be there long, Tumbleweed.
That ain't the idea. It's going bothers me, but I reckon if you say I gotcha, I gotcha. All right, Chuck. Holster your gun afore it gets you into trouble. I'm a-going peaceable.
So long, Tumbleweed.
Don't take it so hard, Jim. Old Tumbleweed won't be gone long, and when I get back, I'll mix you up a mess of fudge, so like a which you never tasted before.
Okay, I'll be waiting.
I'll see you in the morning, Tumbleweed.
Hold on a minute. There's one thing I got to state before we pull stakes. I'm letting myself get arrested only because Mr. Kent here says it's the law. You savvy? If he didn't, no gun-toting, sway-back critter'd get me to move.
I think we've had enough big talk.
That ain't big talk, Cheney. Just remember it. Well, so long, Jim. Keep your mouth watered up for that there fudge.
So long, Tumbleweed.
You first, Tumbleweed, and don't try nothing.
It's them your teeth I hear rattling, Jeff. So long, Jim. So long, Mr. Kent.
Goodbye, Tumbleweed. See you in the morning. Jimmy, what's the matter?
I don't know. Everything seems to be going wrong. First Comanche Joe gets shot, and then poor Tumbleweed's arrested. Isn't there anything we can do?
Well, I was going to pack you off to bed, but since you're so troubled, maybe you'd better ride along with me.
Right? Where to?
To the Comanche Indian Reservation. And we'll wait until they drive off. Your pony and the pinto I was riding are still saddled, aren't they?
I think so, but what are you going to do with the reservation?
Talk things over with Comanche Joe's father, the chief.
Gosh, do you think he'll let Tumbleweed have the ranch?
Well, that's one question I can't answer. All right, come along. They've gone.
The horses are still saddled.
Good. That'll save time. Check the saddle girths on your pony.
They're tight.
Okay, now let's go.
Which way is the reservation?
Due east.
Just follow me. You all set?
Yep.
Okay. Go, boy.
Yeah, Soda. Yeah.
Heading for the Indian reservation, Clark Kent's plan is to convince the aged chief that Tumbleweed Jones has every right to the ranch given him by Comanche Joe. But it's not going to be so easy. In fact, both Kent and Jimmy are in for some unexpected excitement. So don't fail to be with us for the next episode. Tune in and listen with Superman.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, takes you to the world beyond tomorrow, in the age of the conquest of space. When roaring rockets blast to distant stars and far-flung planets with Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! Chimes of the Tower of Galileo echoes over the campus of Space Academy, tolling the hour of 9:30. Dormitory windows slowly go dark as cadet units retire for the night. But light continues to stream brightly from Section 42B, the quarters of the Polaris unit. Inside, Cadet Tom Corbett, a tall, curly-haired boy of 18, is seated at the desk, dictating a letter into the audio writer. Nearby, Cadet Astro, the second member of the Polaris unit, listens intently to earphones clamped tightly to his ears as a study spool whirls in the study machine, droning out a lesson in astrogation. And the third member of the Polaris unit, Cadet Roger Manning, idly contemplates his collection of pinups. Cadet life is quiet and routine on the Space Academy campus. Suddenly, the dormitory intercom crackles into life.
Unit, reporting for duty, Captain Strong.
You made good time, boys. Just leave your space gear on the deck. You can stow it later when we're in flight.
Sounds like we're in a hurry, Skipper.
We are, Astro. We blast off as soon as we get final orders from Commander Arkwright.
What's up, Skipper?
Remember our first trip to Titan, the largest moon of Saturn?
Sure thing, sir. We escorted the first group of colonists there.
You remember the strange Titan vegetation? Crystal? Living crystal?
Who could forget it? Yeah. Every time it touched metal, the metal turned into crystal.
Right. But at the same time, it was lighter and stronger than most metals now in use.
I always thought it would be a good idea for our Academy scientists to work on that stuff. Make it useful.
They have, Tom. They've succeeded in refining Titan crystal so that it can be used in place of metal.
Hey, that's terrific, sir.
The process isn't absolutely perfect yet. They've only been able to do it in small quantities, but in about a year, refined crystal can be turned out in volume for standard everyday use.
A year isn't too long to wait for a thing like this.
Well, it seems to be, for certain people.
What do you mean, Skipper?
Partially refined crystal is being smuggled out of Titan and brought down to Earth.
Smuggled?
Yes. Somebody's trying to get a jump on the market. Sell the crystal now and make the most of the money before there's any competition. And this stuff is dangerous. Only partially refined, it can still affect metal.
But how can anybody smuggle crystal? You can't hide it in your hat or anything like that.
Well, the Solar Guard's been working on this for the last 2 months. Lieutenant Mitsuko has been assigned to the case, and 3 days ago, he reported he had a lead. Now, he's landing here tonight with a full report.
Well, sir, how do we fit into this?
We're going to help Mitsuko break this smuggling ring wide open. As soon as he lands, Commander Arkwright will bring him here to the Polaris for a quick briefing, and then we'll... Captain Strong here. Go ahead.
Orders from Commander Arkwright, sir.
All right, Bailey. Go ahead.
You must blast off for Titan immediately.
But I thought we were supposed to wait for Lieutenant Mitsuko.
His rocket scout crashed in Greenland. The report just came in from Weather Station J.
Do they know what happened, Bailey?
Not very much, sir. Only that the wreckage charge of his rocket scout, from nose to exhaust tubes, was one mass of crystal.
And Lieutenant Mitsuko?
He's dead.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Listen. That's a flight of jet planes flashing across the sky, flying faster than the speed of sound itself. Those fleet, deadly jets are the masters of the air, spreading their wings in battle high above the earth.
Is your future in the air? Do you want to head for the clouds in a blazing burst of speed when you grow up? If you do, then start now. Start learning and training so you'll be ready when the big day comes. Learn all you can about jets. And build all the strength and health you can, too. Get plenty of exercise, rest, and good food.
And for breakfast, start your day with a big heaping bowl full of Kellogg's Pep. Jet pilots know breakfast is mighty important for building up strength. And Kellogg's Pep has just the kind of food values jet pilots must have to keep ready for action.
When a jet takes to the air, it needs plenty of fuel. And when you start out each morning, you need fuel to keep going, too. Get your supply of fuel at the breakfast table. Eat Pep, because Kellogg's Pep gives you more builder-upper food values than any other wheat flake cereal.
And Kellogg's Pep gives you flavor, too. Sweet, malty-rich, swell-tasting flavor that brings you back for second helpings. You keep that spoon of yours mighty busy when you start scooping up a bowl full of Pep.
So start now, fellas and girls. Start your day with a cereal that gives you build-up food values and swell flavor, too. Ask Mom to get the better-than-ever build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. And don't miss the exciting announcement coming up about a swell prize you get in every package of Kellogg's Pep.
Attention, crew. Blast off in 30 seconds. Station check.
And Astro, lower deck ready, sir. Cadet Manning, radar bridge ready, sir.
Cadet Corbett, control deck ready, sir.
As a lone, powerful spotlight from the spaceport control tower plays on the silvery hull of the rocket cruiser Polaris, Captain Strong and the Space Cadets prepare to blast off.
Energize the cooling pumps.
Pumps in operation, sir. Feed reactant.
Switch in takeoff gyros.
Gyros in, sir.
Orders are snapped quickly. Controls are engaged. The ship begins to throb with the unleashed power of its rocket motors. And finally...
Blast off minus 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
Its exhaust tube spitting smoke and flame, the rocket hovers over the ground for an instant, then quickly accelerates, and at a speed of 5,000 miles per hour, it arrows into the night sky and disappears from view. A few moments later, clear of Earth's atmosphere, Captain Strong calls his cadet crew down to the control deck.
Well, boys, with Lieutenant Mitsuko's death, we haven't a shred of information. We'll have to start from scratch. Now, when we land on Titan, I'm going to give you a couple of days' liberty.
Liberty? Get that look off your face, Raj.
This'll be simulated liberty, pal.
Oh. I want this to look as much like routine maneuvers as possible. It may throw the smugglers off guard. They won't think that space cadets would be handling this kind of an operation.
They don't know us.
Well, I hope not. Anyhow, behave as you normally would. Drift around the colony, go sightseeing, anything. See what information you can pick up. Well, that's the plan. Any questions?
A lot, sir. But from what you've told us already, we'll have to dig out the answers ourselves.
All right, then. You can relax. Maintain the usual 4-hour deck watches and get as much rest as you can. You're going to need it.
Titan control from rocket cruiser Polaris. Entering approach orbit. Open atmosphere resistor screens for landing. We'll touch down in 4 minutes. Okay, Captain Strong. All stations are secure. Anything else you want us to do?
No, Tom. You're all off duty. You boys can have 48 hours liberty.
Thanks a lot, sir.
We sure can use it, sir. You put us through hoops on this training flight.
And don't worry, Skipper. We'll keep our eyes open. We'll find those... Oh! What's the idea of kicking me?
Next time, I'll put my foot in your mouth.
You want to ruin everything, Manning? Somebody in that ground crew may be listening. Oh.
All right, boys. I'll see you later.
Right, sir.
And when you finish sightseeing, you can sack in for the night at the spaceport BOQ.
See you there, sir.
Now, have you hotshot space detectives figured out where we begin this sightseeing tour? Seems to me the spaceport is just as good a place as any. Oh, sure. A great place to load smuggled crystal.
Well, they load crystal here, all right. Look at that space freighter over there.
Hey, you don't suppose that stuff on the conveyor belt...
relax, will you, Astro? That crystal's already been refined. Come on, let's have a closer look.
She's a fast-looking ship.
The Mary Wells. Well, I'll be.
Stand where you are, all of you.
Huh? Who said that? That guy climbing out of the freighter. Looks like a Martian deck officer.
Stand where you are, or I will blast you.
Hey, that creep's pointing a parallel ray at us. Better hold still, fellas. He means business.
Stop the conveyor! What are you doing here? Speak up.
We've got as much right to be here as you have.
Put that ray gun away, pal, or I'll bend it around your neck.
Oh, so now I recognize the uniform. You are of the Space Cadets, the little boys who play a soldier.
Hey, where do you get that little boy routine?
Be still, or my ray will freeze your chattering mouth.
Look here, what's the idea of pulling a ray gun on us? We weren't doing anything wrong.
I do not take chances. Anyone who comes too close to me may be an enemy. But you, children... Start the conveyor!
Children? Why, I'll show that space... Oh, relax, Manning. Come on. What's the matter with you guys? You afraid of that parallel ray?
Well, we're not afraid of anything, pal, but there's no point in starting a fight with him. We won't learn anything that way.
We won't learn anything anyway. Our first hot lead. Nothing but hot air. I don't see why the skipper made us come all the way out here to the refinery. We could be spending our liberty in the colony.
Can't you do anything but gripe, Manning?
Skip it. Where do we meet Captain Strong? In the main refinery down this hall. Hey, what's that up there? It looks like a conveyor belt. And look, it goes outside, straight out to those hills off to the west.
But the cars are empty.
They're returning for more crystal. The conveyor keeps rolling constantly, bringing more crystal in, and... Hey, look down there. Where the cars roll out of the plant. That fellow standing there, wearing the face mask. What about him? He's the joker we bumped into by that space freighter. The Martian deck officer who pulled the parallel ray on.
But he has a perfect right to be there. He ships all this crystal.
He only transports refined crystal. Look, he's jumping into one of the cars. Hey, there's something fishy on tight. You're right, he's up to something. Come on. Let's jump into one of those cars and follow him.
Wait a minute. We better tell Captain Strong.
No time for that now. Astro, he'll get away.
Tom, we can't just take off.
He said we were on 48 hours liberty, didn't he? We're on our own, so come on. Let's blast off.
By the rings of Saturn, how far is that joker going? We've come miles since he jumped out of that conveyor.
Which proves he's up to something.
He sure is.
Hey, keep your face mask on tight, Roger. I keep slipping on one side. What a crummy place. Smells worse than the gas pits of Venus. Hold up, fellas. What's wrong? You see that ship? A jet boat. Well, what's it doing out here? 3 guys are loading crystal into it.
And that's how it's smuggled out.
That's impossible. A jet boat couldn't reach her.
Doesn't have to. Look at the name and her stabilizer. The Mary Wells.
Hey, remember what Captain Strong told us this morning? About that list Lieutenant Mitsuko left? The Mary Wells reported losing a jet boat a few months ago, and she got a replacement. This is how she lost it.
Then the jet boat meets the Mary Wells out in space, is taken aboard, and carried to Earth.
Go to the head of the class, Astro.
But the freighter's boat locks were full. What does she do with the extra boat?
Probably sends it down here to be filled up for the next trip. What an operation. And this is our chance to break it up. What do you suppose would happen if we stowed away aboard that boat?
Well, what's the point in that?
To prove the connection with the Mary Wells. We'd get aboard the freighter and then take over.
Take over? The 3 of us?
A space freighter only has a crew of 5. Hey, now's our chance. Those guys are going into that space hut. What a break. How about it, Astro?
Well, Oh, blast it. Okay, but it's against my better judgment.
You won't think so when they pin the solar medal on you, Astro. Let's go, fellas. And spaceman's luck. I can't get comfortable on these things. They're sharp.
Don't let any of your belt gear touch the crystal. Remember, they're metal. And this stuff isn't refined. I've got my gear tucked under my blouse.
Same here.
Hey, listen, our pal's come aboard. I hope he doesn't get an idea to check his cargo first.
Quiet, you guys.
He's firing up the jets.
Brace yourselves, fellas. This may be a rough takeoff.
What's that?
Are you comfortable in there, my young friend?
Who's he talking to?
He came aboard alone, didn't he?
Can't you hear me in there?
I got a hot space flash for you fellas. He's talking to us.
What?
Then he knows we're in here?
Come on, let's fire out.
Oh, no use. The cargo hatch is locked.
You're so right, my impetuous young friend. You wanted this trip, so you're going to get it. And believe me, it will be a long one. Far out into space.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Fellows and girls, it's here at last. An exciting new prize for you. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep. That's right. Free at no extra cost in every package of Kellogg's Pep. Yes, sir, everybody's excited about the new Magic Moving Picture Eye, a swell prize that you can get right now. This Magic Eye is a smooth, shiny plastic disc. When you hold it between your fingers and tilt it back and forth, the picture on the disc moves like magic. And you can get all different kinds of pictures.
Pictures of movie stars like Bob Hope and William Holden of Paramount Pictures. And trains speeding down a track. Jet planes in the air. And sports stars like Pauline Betts and Bobby Riggs in action. There are 16 different Magic Eye moving pictures in all. And listen, you can start your Magic Eye collection right now because you get a Magic Eye in every package of Kellogg's Pep. Free at no extra cost. Your grocer has your package of Kellogg's Pep with a Magic Eye packaged inside right now. So don't wait. Ask Mom to get a package of Kellogg's Pep as soon as she can. That's right. To get your Magic Eye, ask Mom to buy Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Trapped in the cargo compartment of the jet boat, the space cadets are being carried away from Titan. Carried out into the cold blackness of space where they know there will be no return. Crouched on the mass of smuggled crystal, they brace themselves as best they can, while the jet boat roars toward its rendezvous with the freighter.
Hey, Astro, roll over one of those chunks of crystals. A big one.
Huh? What for?
This is no time to ask questions. Come on.
All right. Hey, what are you doing at this hatch anyway, Junior? Expect to open it with your fingers or something?
No, but I've managed to rip loose some of the insulation around the hatch plate.
That's a great help. Here's that chunk of crystal you wanted, Tom.
Thanks, Astro. Now watch, Roger. And pray that my crystal can opener works.
Something Jupiter, of course. The crystal goes to work on the metal and we'll turn it into crystal, too.
Right, only the crystallized metal will be brittle. And you can smash right through it.
Is it working, Tom?
Yes, slow, awfully slow. And that rendezvous with the space freighter can't be too far off.
You beautiful hunk of crystal. Keep working on that hatch.
Isn't that crystallized area large enough yet, Tom? Let it go a little longer. When we break out, we've got to move fast. We'll need plenty of elbow room.
It's a wonder that joker doesn't hear the vibration.
The noise of the jets probably covers it.
Hey, the jets, they stop.
We must be at our rendezvous point. Tom, he'll hear the vibration. And we have to hit him now. Break that crystal and let's go.
Now, watch your language, pal, or I'll tell Astro to sit on you again.
Tom, do you see the space freighter yet?
No, not a sign of it.
What are you staying here for? Why don't you return to Dragon while there's still a chance?
I like the air out here better.
But this boat is becoming completely crystallized. It will shatter.
We know, pal. Why do you think we put on these emergency spacesuits?
There it is, fellas. There it is.
Space freighter?
You expecting the Earth one to shuttle, Astro?
All right, start up the jets, Astro. I'll handle the controls. I hope everything still works. Well, the jets are okay.
And so are the controls. Here we go.
fellas got everything straight? You know what to do?
Sure, a snap. As soon as we get close enough to the freighter so the boat can't miss her, we just abandon ship.
We'd better double-check our ropes. If we get separated out in space, we're in for trouble.
What have we got now?
Stand by the escape hatch, Roger. We're closing in on the freighter.
I'm ready.
You're crazy, all of you. You'll never get away with it. We'll drift in space until we die for lack of oxygen.
That's the way we figure it. As soon as this boat hits the freighter, the crystal will start to work. Then there, Skipper, is a cinch to call for help.
Okay, Roger. Astro, get your helmets on. We go overboard in 30 seconds.
Hey, Astro.
Yeah, Tom?
You all right?
That's fine.
What about Roger?
Don't worry about me, Junior. I'm drifting along like a cloud. How's our passenger? He hasn't opened his mouth in the last 10 minutes. The shock of seeing the boat crash into the freighter must have been too much for him. He passed out cold. You did a nice job of aiming, Tom. Not only is the hull of that ship crystallizing, but you smashed her tube. She can't get underway.
The skipper has to send a distress call now.
He's probably sent out 50 already. Hey, look. The call's been answered. A couple of rocket cruisers are coming out.
And one of them's the Polaris.
That's our skipper right on the ball. I hope he is, Roger, at least as far as we're concerned. He may think we made a little bit too much of our liberty.
Boys, I honestly don't know whether to recommend you for the solar medal or to lug you for this crazy stunt.
Well, Captain, why don't we just skip the whole thing?
Well, maybe that would be best. But it's going to take some explaining.
Captain Strong, did you learn anything from that man we brought aboard?
Yes. He gave me the whole story. And you were right, Tom. They'd used the jet boat to carry the smuggled crystal to the freighter, and at the same time send an empty boat back to Titan.
But what happened when they reached Earth, sir? How'd they land the stuff?
Very simple. They jettisoned the whole cargo, dumped it overboard to drift into space and be picked up later by other jet boats that wouldn't be suspected.
Say, they covered all the angles, didn't they? What about Lieutenant Mitsuko?
A clear case of murder, Tom. And those men will pay for it.
I'm sure glad of that.
Say, Skipper, I was just thinking...
Uh-oh. Run for cover, Astro.
All right, Manny. Let's have it.
Well, since you can't give us the solar medal and you don't want to log us, can't you sort of give us recognition in the Academy record book?
Recognition? Well, for what?
Why, for the way we hitched a ride on the Polaris. We're the first space hikers.
Don't miss the next thrilling interplanetary adventure on Tuesday, when danger lurks in the cold blackness of the void, and Tom Corbett visits the space station of danger. Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal. Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast were Al Markham, Jan Merlin, Edward Bryce, and Peter Capell. Today's program was directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Begg speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Shh. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Shh.
In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That's the secret of Kellogg's extra delicious flavor. That means plumper, tastier raisins, combined with golden, crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal, all in one box. No other raisin brand but Kellogg's gives you raisins dipped in honeycomb. So try Kellogg's, because...
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Shh. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Shh.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure
Want to get away from it all? We offer you escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. You are crawling across a jungle savannah, your body flaming with fever, while behind you lies certain death, and ahead the endless tortures of perpetual imprisonment. Listen now as Escape brings you Evelyn Waugh's classic story, The Man Who Liked Dickens.
You know what it's like with the English. We're forever going off on curious expeditions into the interiors of strange, dark lands, having unbelievable adventures and returning at last pale and a bit feverish, but triumphant. This we do. But we do not invariably wear rather longish khaki shorts in the daytime, and no matter how primitive our surroundings, dress every night in black tie. I know this from the only exploration I ever went on, with Dr. Messenger, into the Amazon to find a buried city called Demerara. I remember the night things started to go badly with us. It was our last camp on the river. Next day, we were to begin making our way south by foot, and we'd gone to bed early in preparation for the rigors of the trail. I'd been asleep an hour or two when I was wakened by something tugging gently at my toe. I sat up and looked sleepily toward the foot of my hammock, and then I saw what it was.
Sonny. Sonny, what's up? What is it?
Something on my toe. That beast of some sort.
Hey. You frightened it off?
It's gone, Doctor. It flew away.
Oh. Did it bite you?
Yes, you see, on my great toe.
Yes. Vampire bat. Must have gone to sleep with your foot against the mosquito netting. Foolish thing to do. No telling how long he was at it before you woke up.
I thought the lamp was supposed to keep him off.
It doesn't seem to have, does it?
No.
Nasty. May have lost quite a bit of blood.
I don't think I like the idea much.
Better put some iodine on it. I'll get one of the boys to bring the medicine test. Macusi! Macusi! Here! Macusi! What the devil?
Well, what is it? Where's Macusi?
I'm afraid we're in for it, old boy. They've gone.
Gone?
The boys, all of them.
But why? Where'd they go?
I was afraid of this.
What do you mean?
Well, these chaps are rivermen. They don't like going into Indian territory. I meant to explain things to them in the morning with the help of extra goods, you know, mirrors, pomade, and the like. Too late now, I expect.
You expect? This is a bloody fine way to run an expedition. Now we're alone, absolutely alone, in this filthy jungle.
Well, what if we are? We'll move on. We have our maps. Takes a bit of poise, that's all.
Poise? Are you mad, Messenger? We can't even get back alone. How can we go on?
Well, the situation is grave, lad, I must admit, but not desperate, not altogether desperate.
I wasn't sure whether Dr. Messenger had lost his mind or if he was merely displaying British calm in the face of disaster. In any event, by morning I was beyond caring very much. When I awoke, my head was flaming with fever, and by noon I was slightly delirious. The following day was no better, and Dr. Messenger was rather concerned.
How do you feel, lad?
Awful. I'm afraid I'm being a great nuisance.
No, that's not the point. Here, I brought you something to drink.
What is it?
Kassiri. The boys left some outside.
What's Kassiri?
Well, it's a local drink made of fermented cassava.
Oh, will it help me?
Well, it might. You know, it's rather interesting the way they make it. The women chew the root up and they spit it into a hollow tree trunk.
If you don't mind, Doctor, I think I'd rather not.
Well, as you like. Oh, look here. I think I've got the idea as to what's best for us to do.
Oh?
Yes. I'm going to take the canoe downstream to see if I can find some Indians to help. Best to go immediately, don't you know?
Yes, that's good. All right, I'll come and see you off.
You better stay quiet in your hammock.
No, I'll come stay back, but I want to see you off. It'll be good for my morale, you know, to get myself up a bit.
Perhaps. Well, anyway, I'll be back before tonight. Oh, come along. You can sit on the bank and wave goodbye, shall
I staggered down to the river's edge, where I sat with my back against a tree and watched Dr. Messenger launch the canoe and paddle out to midstream. My vision was rather blurred by the fever, and I'll never know exactly what happened. But suddenly, the canoe seemed to pitch up and over, throwing Dr. Messenger out into the water. He must have smashed his head on a rock, for he appeared only once on the surface, and then, without a struggle, quickly sank, and the water closed over him. I got to my feet, swayed about helplessly for a moment, and then passed out. I remember nothing more until Mr. Todd found me.
Can you see that house over there? Do you think you're able to walk to it? Well, if not, I can send some Indians to carry you.
Rotten thing to watch a man drown.
You've been talking to yourself a long time. Such strange talk. Glad to see you coming out of it. Oh, careful.
I say, you're English. I'm English, too. Last. Tony Last.
Well, Mr. Last, you've been very ill and you've had a rough time of it wandering about in the jungle. But I'll take care of you now.
It's very kind of you to do this for an utter stranger.
Oh, not at all. I like strangers. Don't get them often.
Perhaps I can repay you somehow when you come to London.
I don't get to London, Mr. Last. But I think you might be able to repay me. Do come along, won't you?
My recovery was slow, but Mr. Todd proved the most patient of nurses. He was forever hovering about, giving me medicine, feeding me, talking to me. I learned that his house was in a village of Indians not far from the riverbank, about 10 miles above the spot from where I'd watched poor Dr. Messenger drown. He owned a few cattle, some bananas and mango trees, a dog, and a single-barreled shotgun. In general, his way of life, like the medicines he gave me, was that of the Indians.
Of course, my mother was an Indian, Mr. Last.
Oh, but I thought you were English.
My father was. He went to Guyana as a missionary, but soon came on here to look for gold. He found my mother instead and settled down. I was born here. 60 years in this village. Very long and lonely time.
I can well imagine.
Of course, most of the men and women living in the savannah are my relatives.
Is that why you're more or less the ruler here?
For that reason, and because I have the shotgun.
Oh, of course.
Tell me, Mr. Last, can you read?
What? Yes, certainly.
Not everyone is so fortunate. For example, I cannot.
What? Oh, of course. Still, I don't suppose you have much opportunity here.
Oh, yes, that's just it. I have a great many books. I'll show you when you're better. My father left them.
Well, I'd be delighted to see them.
You shall.
Of course.
You see, my father was a man of education. He read to me all the time.
But since he died?
Oh, there was nobody for a number of years. And then another Englishman came. He read to me every day, every single day.
Another Englishman? But where is he now?
I don't know.
Well, how long was he here?
Oh, I don't remember exactly. But he read to me every day. You shall read to me when you're better.
I'd be delighted to, Mr. Todd.
Oh, yes. You shall read to me.
Mr. Todd had a curious way of putting things, but he was much too kind and selfless in his attentions to me to allow my thinking any ill of him. Still, he did give me a turn one day when we were taking a short walk around the village. It was the first time I'd left the house since the fever had gone.
You'll find the Indians quite friendly here, but, I'd keep apart from them if I were you.
But why, if they want to be friendly?
Things aren't always quite as they appear to be here in the jungle, Mr. Last.
Well, I'll go slow, if that's what you mean.
That's not exactly what I mean.
I say, what's that?
What?
There, between those mango trees, that mound of dirt.
Oh, yes.
It seems to be a grave.
It is.
Oh, of course. Your father?
No. Barnabas is buried there. Barnabas Washington.
Barnabas?
Yes, the Englishman I told you about him.
You mean the one who was here? Who read to you so much?
Oh, he read beautifully, Barnabas did.
But look here, Mr. Todd, you told me you didn't know where he was.
Well, I don't. Do you?
Eh? Oh, I see. That was an odd way of putting it, I must say. Tell me, Mr. Todd, How long was he here, Barnabas Washington?
Quite a long time.
I know, but exactly how long?
Oh, I don't keep much track of time down here. You know how it is.
At any rate, he never got home. He died here.
Oh, yes, and he was so very kind. Every afternoon for 2 hours he used to read to me.
Well, I suppose it was a good way to pass the time. Seems rather odd, though. I mean, reading here in the heart of the jungle, lost, so to speak, from the world.
Oh, I suppose it does, but one gets used to it.
Of course.
It seems a pity poor Barnaby's grave isn't marked.
I think so.
Yes, I think I'll put up a cross. In fact, I'll put up 2 of them. One to commemorate his death, and the other your arrival.
A cross for me? I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
Well, it's just a whim, Mr. Long.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude.
Of course. And now, Mr. Lost, I think you've recovered your strength sufficiently that we may begin tonight. What do you say?
Begin tonight? Oh, my reading, is that it?
Yes, that's it, Mr. Lost, that's it.
All right, if you like.
Oh, you know I've been waiting a long time for this. A dreadfully long time.
And that night the horror began. My subtle, unbelievable enslavement to the strange madness of the gentle Mr. Todd.
We will return to Escape in just a moment, but first, when you hear a read about foreign propaganda against the American economic system, do you just feel resentment, or can you answer the charges in your own mind with facts? It's true our system has faults. It also has provisions for constant improvement, and our high production of goods and services has gone hand in hand with the preservation of our basic freedoms. Understanding our system ourselves is the first step toward combating propaganda against it. And now, back to Escape.
That evening after supper, Mr. Todd led me into his room where we were to begin reading. From a loft at one end of the hut, he took down a number of small bundles tied up with rags, palm leaves, and rawhide. We carried them over to the fire, and he began to unwrap them with feverish anticipation.
You choose one, Mr. Last. It doesn't matter which one to take first. Please, choose. What do you have there? This?
Pickwick paper.
Excellent. Let's begin with that, shall we?
Well, isn't there something a little more lively, perhaps?
Oh, I have everything here. How about Martin Chuzzlewit or Great Expectations?
Well, I was thinking of a more modern author somehow. I don't suppose you'd have a copy of, say, South Wind.
South Wind? That's odd. I have everything Dickens ever wrote, but I've never heard of that.
Oh, but it's not by Dickens, you see.
Oh, well, in that case, I don't have it.
You mean all these books are by Dickens?
Oh, certainly.
You must be quite fond of Dickens.
Fond? Far more than that. Far more than fond, Mr. Locke. Oh. You see, these are the only books I've ever known or heard. As I told you, they belonged to my father, and he used to read them to me. And then later, Barnabas Washington.
And now me.
And now you. But don't worry, I never get tired, even though I've heard them all several times by now. You see, there's always more to be learned and noticed. So many characters, so many changes of scene, so many words. It takes a long time to read them all. More than 2 years.
Well, in that case, they'll certainly last out my visit.
Oh, I hope not. I sincerely hope not. It's delightful to start again. Each time I find more to enjoy and admire. Come, let's begin, shall we? Well, all right. Yes, and read slowly now. I don't want to miss anything. And you won't mind going back over certain passages, will you? I'll let you know when we got them.
Of course.
Now, let's begin.
The Posthumous Papers of the Pickwick Club. Chapter 1. The Pickwickians. The first ray of light which illumines the gloom and converts into a dazzling brilliancy that obscurity in which the earlier history of the public career of the immortal Pickwick would appear to be involved is derived from the perusal of the following entry in the transactions of the Pickwick Club, which the editor of these papers feels the highest pleasure in laying before his readers as proof of... As I continue to read, The old man frequently interrupted with questions or comments or requests that I reread a favorite passage. His delight was rather contagious. But by the time we were on the 4th volume, the novelty had begun to wane. And anyway, I was feeling strong enough to be restless. More than once I brought up the subject of my departure. But Mr. Todd seemed obtuse and paid no attention. Finally, one day, he actually became a bit menacing about it. I had just finished a chapter of Bleak Heart and was resting my eyes for a moment.
You know, Mr. Last, you read even better than my father. Even better, I might add, than Mr. Washington.
Well, we still have a lot to get through. I hope I shall be able to finish it before I leave.
Oh, yes, don't disturb yourself about that. You'll have time to finish it, my friend.
Look, Mr. Todd, the time's come when I really must be thinking of getting back to civilization. I've already imposed on you much too long.
Oh, not at all, Mr. Last. It's been a pleasure, a great pleasure.
I know. But still, how soon do you think I'll be able to get a boat?
A boat?
Yes, to go down river. Oh, no, you know I appreciate all your kindness more than I can say.
Well, Mr. Last, any kindness I may have shown is amply repaid by your reading of Dickens. Do not let us mention the subject again.
Well, I'm very glad you've enjoyed it, but I really must be thinking of getting back.
Oh, yes, the other Englishman was like that, too. He thought about it all the time. But he died here, poor chap.
Mr. Todd, how long was he here, the other Englishman?
Oh, now, I don't recall exactly. We pay so little attention to time down here, you know.
Well, did he read all of Dickens to you?
A long time ago. But I do remember Dombey and Son 3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times? But you said it took 2 years each time to go all through.
Yes, about that.
Mr. Todd, why did he stay here all those years?
Well, I don't know. I never asked.
But there must have been some reason.
Well, he never said.
All right. But I really must press the point. When can I get a boat?
There is no boat.
Well, then the Indians can build one.
Well, you must wait for the rains. There isn't enough water in the river now.
Well, how long will that be?
Oh, a month, 2 months.
All right, then. I'll wait a month or 2.
Of course. Now, let's get on. Now, it's so interesting what Dickens has to say about the law's delay. Bleak Heart has always been such a favorite of mine.
And so, in spite of everything, at least I knew what I was waiting for. And so it only remained for the rains to begin. I waited as patiently as I could, living with gaudy dreams of my return to England. Until one day, as we were reading, Mr. Todd explained all that away.
I think Mrs. Jellyby does not take enough care of her children.
But still, Dickens has great sympathy for her. He'd been poor himself, you know. What's that? Listen.
Yes, shall we go on now?
Rain. The rain has begun, Mr. Todd.
Of course, the time for it. But do let's finish that chat.
No, later. I must go and talk to the Indians about building a boat. I can leave now, don't you see?
Oh?
Certainly, the river will be full soon, and in a week I'll be off.
Oh, I'm afraid that's impossible, Mr. Last.
Impossible? Why?
Oh, the Indians won't make a boat during the rainy season. It's one of their superstitions.
Is that true?
Ask them.
I think you might have told me.
You didn't, huh?
Why didn't you mention it then?
I must have forgotten.
I suppose. You've forgotten nothing, Mr. Todd. I'm satisfied now that you're holding me here against my will. I demand to be released.
Of course, you're perfectly free.
Now, look here. You saved my life. And when I get back to civilization, I'll reward you to the best of my ability. I'll give you anything within reason.
But, my friend, there's nothing keeping you here. You're under no restraint.
I demand to be released.
Then go when you like.
Stop that. You know very well I can't get away without your help.
Then, in that case, you must humor an old man. Read me the rest of the chapter.
No, Mr. Todd. I've read for the last time.
Oh, I hope not, Mr. Last. Oh, I sincerely hope not.
That evening at supper, only one plate of dried meat was brought in, and Mr. Todd ate alone. Next day at noon, a single plate was again put before him. But with it lay his gun, cocked on his knee as he ate. And so I resumed the reading of Bleak Heart, where it had been interrupted. And then, as though to make my situation even clearer to me, I came upon a scrawled note stuck between the book's pages, and I read it with growing horror.
What is it, Mr. Last? What have you there?
This document. It was here in the book.
Document? What document?
Don't you know? Then I shall read it to you, Mr. Todd.
Yes, you're right. It seems a pity to interrupt Dickens. Well,
year 1930. I, James Todd of Brazil, do swear to Barnabas Washington of Georgetown that when he finishes this book, in fact, Martin Chuzzlewit, I will let him return to civilization without delay. Then there's an X, and after it, Mr. Todd made this mark. Signed Barnabas Washington.
Ah, yes, poor Barnabas. He died before he could get out.
And if I remember the marker you put up, he died in 1942. Is that right, Mr. Todd?
Excuse me, Mr. Last. I nearly forgot something. I meant to mention it earlier.
Yes?
The Indians tell me that you were trying to speak to them this morning.
I was?
Of course. But may I suggest that it would be easier for you to say anything you wish through me? You realize, do you not, that they do nothing without my authority. They regard themselves, and quite rightly in many cases, as my children.
I had nothing to hide. I was asking them about a boat.
So they gave me to understand. And now, if we finish, do let's get on with our reading. I'm quite absorbed in the book.
We finished Bleak House, and Oliver Twist, and Great Expectations, and Nicholas Nickleby, the Old Curiosity Shop, Little Dorrit, Edwin Drood. More than a year passed, and Mr. Todd began looking forward to starting all over again. The empty days followed one another in hopeless succession, until one morning, a stranger suddenly arrived in the savannah, a prospector, one of that lonely order of men who wander for a lifetime through the forest, tracing the streams for gold. Mr. Todd was out, puttering about on business for the farm, when the man appeared. I found him a plate of meat and fed him and eagerly sat down at the table across from him.
Nice setup you got here.
Look here. Where are you bound for?
Manaus. Need a new outfit.
You've got to do something for me. It's terribly important.
Well, sure, pal. What is it?
Here. Take this. Give it to somebody in Manaus, the police, the mayor, or somebody. Tell him you found me, and to get in touch with the British consul.
Well, I ain't going to get in trouble with this, am I?
No. Look, this isn't my home. I'm a member of the Messenger expedition. Dr. Messenger was drowned, and I've been held prisoner here ever since. You're my only hope of ever getting out. Do you understand?
You sound like a jungle head to me, but I'll do it for you if that's what you want.
You must, please.
Well, one thing, though.
What?
Wouldn't it be simpler if you just came along with me?
No, I'm afraid not.
Why?
First, there are Mr. Todd's Indians. I can't take 2 steps into the jungle without one of them after me.
Oh.
And then Mr. Todd has a shotgun.
You, mustn't mind Mr. Last, my friend. Touch a fever, you know.
This is Mr. Todd. Let's you see what I mean.
I warned you about getting up too soon, Mr. Last. I guess you're going to have a time of it now.
I have no fever, and you know it.
Well, you boys settle this between yourselves. I've got to shove on enough. Thanks for lunch.
But you will...
Like I said, why not? Don't bother to see me off. So long.
You're going to let him go?
Of course. Oh, come, Mr. Last. I believe we're going to begin Little Dorrit today. I'm most anxious to hear it again.
From then on, there was hope. And as the weeks passed, I endured each day in confident anticipation of what might happen on the morrow. I even felt a slight stirring of cordiality towards my jailer. And therefore, I quite willingly joined him when one evening he proposed that we attend a native feast. There was a lot of singing in an apathetic, monotonous manner. And then we were given a small calabash of kuwari to drink. It was a pleasant beverage with a flavor of honey and brown bread. And etiquette required that we drink it down without lowering the gourd. I had several, and soon after grew warm and drowsy, and dozed happily off in a hammock, dreaming of fine claret and the white cliffs of England.
Mr. Last, you better come and eat something. You will starve to death here.
Hello. Oh, my head. I must have been quite tight last night. Treacherous drink, that.
How do you feel?
Rotten. That drink doesn't seem to agree with me.
Well, I'll give you something to make you better. The forest has remedies for everything to make you awake and to make you sleep.
Oh, I say, you haven't seen my watch anywhere?
You've missed it?
Yes, I thought I was wearing it. You know, I've never slept so long.
Not since you were a baby. Do you know how long?
No.
2 days. Oh, nonsense, I can't. 2 whole days. And it's a pity, too, because you missed our guest. Yes. Oh, I've been quite gay while you were asleep. 3 men from outside, Englishmen. A pity you missed them, and a pity for them, too. They particularly wished to see you.
No.
Yes, they came all the way to find you, all the way from England. But since you couldn't greet them yourself, I gave them a little souvenir. Your watch.
My watch?
Oh, I did. You gave them my watch. You shouldn't mind. You see, they had to have something to take back with them. A reward is being offered for news of you. They seem very pleased of it.
Goodness. Even you. That's like killing a man.
They took some photographs of the little cross I put up to commemorate your coming, but not before I put another date on it, you know.
You did. You killed me, didn't you? You killed me.
In general, they were quite pleased, but I don't suppose they'll visit us again. Our life here is so retired, no pleasures except reading. No, I don't suppose you'll ever have visitors again. But come, your headache. I'll get the medicine for you. You're just upset. Look, we won't have any Dickens today.
My whole life.
But tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. Do let us read Little Dorrit again, Mr. Locke. I tell you, there are passages in that book I can never share without the temptation to weep.
'Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Man Who Liked Dickens by Evelyn Waugh, especially adapted for Escape by John Meston, and starring Terry Kilburn as Tony with Joseph Kearns as Mr. Todd. Featured in the cast were Ramsey Hill and Joe Cranston. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are standing in a Mexican bull ring, your body racked with fear, while in front of you the terrible horns of a huge fighting bull are waiting, and all around you the crowd is demanding that you move in and come even closer to death.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Anthony Barrett's exciting story, Nightmare in the Sun. This is Roy Rowan speaking. And remember, America is listening with 14 million kitchen radios and listens most to the CBS Radio Network.
And Wheat Checks, the bite-sized cereals in the red and white checkerboard packages, present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are searching for an abandoned spaceship, half buried in a landslide in the mountains of Venus.
Well, whatever forced this spaceship to land, it certainly wasn't lack of fuel. Look at all these drums bolted in their racks.
Mm-hmm. They all seem to be full.
Commander, the ship's moving. Dirt's giving way. We're sliding down the slope. Run for the next compartment. One of the drum pitchers will be crushed. Commander!
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, The Treasure of Mount Rollcab. It's tops, it's tops, it's tops. Yes, sir, Space Patrollers, Rice Chex is tops 3 ways. For taste, for size, for get up and go. So get Rice Chex today. 1, tops for taste. Delicious shredded rice. Oven toasted 3 times to make it 3 times tastier. Yep, tasty, extra tasty, and super tasty. That's Rice Chex. 2, tops for size. Because Rice Chex is made of that modern, bite-sized design. Light, fluffy, sunny gold, triple toasted shredded rice biscuits, just the right size for an easy bite. 3 tops for Get Up and Go, you betcha. A nourishing breakfast with Rice Chex, and zip, zoom, you're way, way ahead before you even start. That's why Commander Corey made Rice Chex an official cereal of the Space Patrol. Rice Chex, the cereal that's good with cream and sugar, good with fruit on top, good right from your pocket for snacks. Rice Chex, bite-sized shredded rice biscuits, hollow inside so they can fill up with cream for a super luscious bite. Rice Chex, full of that Get Up and Go, the kind of energy you need to be an honest-to-goodness space patroller like Buzz Corey and Cadet Happy. So remember, Rice Chex is tops 3 ways. Get Rice Chex today. And get Wheat Chex today. Wheat Chex, the wonderful, power-rich Space Patrol cereal made of hearty whole wheat. Bite-sized, too, and what a bite. Wowie, hurry, get Chex today. The only cereals that bring you a free Space Patrol trading card inside the package. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. And now today's Space Patrol adventure, the treasure of Mount Rollcab. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have landed their spaceship in a clearing at the base of Mount Rollcab on the planet Venus. Leisurely, they stroll up a rough path overhung with lush Venus vegetation toward a crude cabin built against the side of the mountain. In the trees above them, large squirrels chatter and scold, while gaily plumed birds dart about like streaks of flame among the branches.
Smoking rockets, Commander. What a wonderful place to spend a 5-day leave.
I knew you'd like it, Ham.
I'm sure glad the rain's let up, though. Looks like we'll get in a few days hunting after all.
Mm-hmm. I'm a little puzzled about Matt, though.
What, you mean not answering your spacephone call?
Yes, I was afraid at first the heavy rains might have damaged his cabin, but it's all right.
Hey, a real old-fashioned log cabin.
And Matt built it himself with old-fashioned hand tools. No Atomo power saws for Matt Henshaw.
Well, don't tell me he hunts with a bow and arrow.
No, he's not that old-fashioned. No, if we go hunting, Matt will lend us one of his special guns. There's not even an instant of suffering for the animal, no matter where it's hit. Looks like Matt isn't home.
What now?
We'll go in and wait. He never locks his door.
Smells kind of musty.
It certainly does. I think it's been shut up for some time.
Maybe Mr. Henshaw's taking a vacation.
No place he'd want to go that I know of. He has no relatives. Matt must have been gone several days. Look at the dust all over everything.
Well, could he have gone on a long hunting trip? Or farther up the mountain, maybe?
In all the rain?
Well, maybe he left before the rain and got caught in it. A landslide, maybe.
If it were anyone else but Matt Henshaw, I'd say that was a good explanation. I'll check the space phone. Maybe Matt contacted Venus City. Commander Corey calling Space Patrol Headquarters, Venus City. Commander Corey calling Venus City Space Patrol.
Venus City Space Patrol here. Go ahead, Commander.
I'm at Matt Henshaw's cabin at the base of Mount Rollcab. But there's no sign of Henshaw. Have you received a message from him?
I have no record of it, Commander. If you can tell me when it was to have been received, I'll check on it.
If he did call, it would have been an emergency.
We've received no emergency messages from that sector of Venus, Commander, except, of course, about the escape.
What escape?
Oh, sorry, sir. I thought you knew. The escape from Criminal Rehabilitation Camp Number 2, south of Mount Rollcab.
When did this happen?
Yesterday, sir. It happened when some of the men about to be released were called out on special emergency detail on account of the flood.
How many escaped?
Well, just one man, Commander, Hope Sherman. He managed to slip away while the men were building barricades.
Well, Sherman's dangerous. Have they located him yet?
Not yet, sir, but it's only a matter of time. That whole lowland region is a network of wire-filled ravines and marsh. He can't get far.
Unless he had help from outside. Well, right now, I'm more concerned about Matt Henshaw. I'm going to look for him. I'll call you back at 1400 hours.
Yes, Commander.
Hurry out.
Say, that criminal rehab center isn't far from here, is it, sir?
No, just a few miles.
I was just thinking maybe Sherman had something to do with Mr. Henshaw not being here.
By the looks of this cabin, Henshaw's been gone for days. Sherman escaped only yesterday.
Yeah, that's right.
Go on, Hap. We'll work our way up the mountain and see if we can find any trace of Henshaw.
Several miles from the cabin, higher up the slope of Rollcab Mountain, 2 men pushed their way through the brush. Finally, they stopped and gazed at a raw scar of reddish clay where a landslide has spilled down the mountainside into a muddy, turbulent mountain stream.
I tell you, Hoke, there isn't any point going up further.
I say there is. Sooner or later, it's going to be narrow enough so we can cross. Then we can work our way down, far away from the rehab center.
Well, I wonder if they found my spaceship yet.
Yeah, probably. I wish I hadn't landed so far from the center.
How did I know that flash flood was going to cut us off? What a lousy break.
Never mind, Endicott. The important thing is I'm free. We can live indefinitely on this mountain. There's plenty of game. Space Patrol will never think of looking for us here.
Well, suppose the rain begins again.
It'll slow us down, all right, but it'll also slow down the search. Endicott, what in Saturn's rings is that?
What?
That thing sticking out of the dirt where the landslide is.
It's a big sharp rock, I guess.
Rock nothing. It's the prow of a spaceship.
You're right, Hope. It must have crashed in the storm.
Not in this last storm. Look at that hull, how rusty it is. Must have crashed years ago, and the landslide uncovered it.
What do you know about that?
Endicott, this is a break. There's shelter in and probably supplies. We can hold up here for a while if we have to.
I don't like the looks of it. It may slide down into the stream any minute.
Not unless there's a lot more rain. Come on, let's see what's inside the old hulk. Would you look at the design of that hull? They haven't built ships like that in 40 years.
It's an old one, all right. Wonder what happened.
Endicott, hold it. Look here in the mud. Those footprints aren't 40 years old.
You're right. Somebody's been here since the rain stopped.
Yeah, and he's made several trips back and forth.
Hey, somebody's coming out of the ship. I'll bless him when he steps out of the hatch.
Put that gun down, you fool. We're hunters, see? Now, come on. It's only one man, and he's unarmed.
Hold on there. You fellas what?
We're hunting. We saw the spaceship and came to investigate.
Well, there isn't anything to see, just an old hulk that's been abandoned for years. What are you hunting? If it's elk, you'll find a herd farther up the mountain on the west slope.
Thanks. That's what we're after, all right. Elk.
If you head around this landfall, you'll find the going fairly easy.
Thanks.
If you start now, you'll reach the elk herd in time to pick off a couple before dark.
Yeah, well, thanks for the information.
Hey, he acted kind of anxious to get rid of us. What's he up to?
I don't know. But he's got something inside that ship that he doesn't want anybody to know about. He's been lugging it out trip after trip. We'll get out of sight, see what he's up to, and then follow him.
How far is he going to lug that thing?
Not much farther, the way he's staggering.
You're right. He's stopping. Hey, that metal bar must be valuable. He's hiding it behind the rocks.
All right, Endicott, you rush him. I'll stay back here and cover you. I don't think he's armed, but if he starts to draw, I can pick him off from here.
Okay. Hold it a minute, partner. What you got there? I said, what have you got there?
It's none of your business.
Well, I'll just take a look. Well, quite a stack of metal bars you got behind the rock, mister. It's a lot of trouble to go to, lugging them all the way down from that old ship. Uranium. Hundreds of pounds of it. Why, it's worth a fortune.
Yes, it's uranium. It's mine by right of discovery. But I'll be willing to give you a couple bars.
Well, now, isn't it generous? I got news for you. You're giving up the whole works right now.
Drop that ray gun.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm sure glad to see you, Commander. But worried about you, man.
Hey, where'd that come from?
That was just a warning. Now, you space patrolmen, drop your weapons or I'll blast you apart.
Yeah, that's my partner. Hid up in the brush. And he means what he says.
You do as I say, no one will be hurt. Now, drop your weapons.
Do as he says, Happy. Before we could hit him, he'd mow us down.
Yes, sir.
All right, Endicott, get your weapons and come on.
Why not finish then?
There might be more space patrolmen around. Any more shots would lead them right here. Now, come on.
Who are those men?
I don't know, Commander. Never saw him till a few minutes ago.
The one we didn't see. What does he look like?
Well, he's tall, over 6 feet, black hair. Got a V-shaped scar on his upper lip. Pulls his mouth into a sort of sneer.
Sounds like Hoke Sherman, the escaped criminal from the rehabilitation center south of the mountain.
Hoke Sherman, see? We did get off lucky.
I hope you're right. Oh, Matt, this is Cadet Happy.
Howdy, son.
Howdy.
Let's get to your cabin and get some weapons, and we can go after Hoke and his pal.
Yeah, if you say so, but that'll give him a head start. I've got some weapons up ahead in the derelict spaceship.
The derelict spaceship?
All right, let's go, but take it easy. We won't try to get close to Hoke until they're armed.
Commander, I suppose I better come clean about this stack of polonium back there. I found it in this deserted spaceship. I wanted to be sure no one took it away from me, so
Moments later, Buzz Happy and Matt Henshaw cautiously approached the rusted hulk of the spaceship, protruding from the moist red clay of the landslide. Seeing no trace of the escaped criminal, Hoke Sherman, and his partner, the three men enter the ancient wreck. Buzz runs his experienced eye over the interior fittings, the crude-appearing control panel with its tarnished instruments.
Matt, this ship is at least 150 years old.
Smoking rockets. I had it figured around 100.
Of course, it's hard to tell how long it's been here on Mount Racob.
I found it here about a week ago after that first big rain.
It may have been covered up a century or more ago by another landslide. You say you found no trace of the crew?
No. They must have got out after they landed. Haven't touched a thing in here except that selenium. When I saw that stack of shiny bars, I got greedy for the first time in my life. Well, I figured I'd get part of it by right of discovery, but I wanted it all. So I took it out of the ship and hid it. I stayed here at the ship to guard it.
We'll talk about the selenium later. Where are those weapons?
They're back aft in the fuel hold. I'll show you.
Yeah, you stay here at the hatch. Happen I can find the guns. Well, let me know if you see anyone outside.
Yes. Oh, you better take this atomo light. It's dark back there.
Oh, thanks. Come on, Hap, let's have a look.
Well, whatever forced this ship to land, it certainly wasn't lack of fuel. Just look at all those drums bolted in their racks.
They all seem to be full.
Commander, the ship's moving.
The dirt's giving way. We're sliding down the slope.
Hey, the fuel drums, they're breaking loose. We've got to get out of here. One of those drums hits us, we'll be crushed. Commander! My leg, it's caught. I'm jammed between two drums.
I'll get you out, Hat.
Well, at least the ship isn't sliding anymore.
This thing is heavy.
What was that?
It's a shot. Somebody's shooting through the hull. Must be Hoke Sherman. If he hits one of these fuel drums, the ship will blow up.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. This is Dick Tufeld reporting on America's most heavily armed fighter interceptor, the Northrop Air Force Scorpion, F-89D. In a moment, we'll hear from the test pilot on this plane, Bob Love, Korean jet ace, with a record of 6 MiGs in 6 weeks. Primary job of the Scorpion is to protect our country from invading aircraft. Speed more than 600 miles per hour. Weight 20 tons. Now, Bob Love recorded at Edwards Air Force Base.
You know, a fella has to be in top condition to test fly a fast aircraft such as the Scorpion. And that's why I always make it a rule to sleep well and eat well. So, for breakfast, I pick a cereal like Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. They're chock full of energy and really taste good. You'll like them.
No other cereal, puff, or plate contains so much nourishment in such concentrated bite-sized form. So take a tip from Bob Love, Phil Houghton, and other top test pilots. Make your cereals Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. And here's big news. Inside of Chex, you now get a thrilling new Space Patrol trading card. Flip 'em, trade 'em, collect a whole set of 40. Free Space Patrol trading cards inside of Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, the treasure of Mount Racob. On Mount Racob on the planet Venus, Buzz and Happy rescued the mountaineer Matt Henshaw from 2 criminals, Endicott and Hoke Sherman. The outlaws, however, succeeded in disarming the commander and Happy and then fled up the mountain. Henshaw then led Buzz and Happy to a wrecked spaceship to obtain weapons to pursue Sherman and Endicott. While the space patrollers were in the fuel hold, searching for the weapons, the spaceship began sliding down the mountain. A heavy fuel drum broke loose from its moorings, pinning Happy against a bulkhead. Now, as Buzz struggles to free Happy, the rusty old hull of the ship is pierced by gunfire.
He's coming awfully close to those fuel drums.
I'll be out here in a second, Hap. Just roll this thing a few inches.
Hey, he hit a drum.
It's a wonder it didn't explode.
You're getting it, Commander. That does it, sir. I'm free now.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Uh-oh, he hit another drum.
Fuel spraying all over.
One little spark and we'll blow up the whole side of the mountain. Come on, let's get out of here before this fuel blows up.
Wait a minute, Happy. I don't think there's any danger.
Huh? No danger? What?
If that was fuel, we'd smell it.
Well, what is it then?
Water. Brackish, foul-tasting water.
Yeah, but the metal drums, they all have rocket fuel painted on them.
Yes, that may be a clue to how this ship happened to land on the mountain with a cargo of thalanium. Somebody switched drums.
Yeah, but then something went wrong and the thalanium wasn't picked up.
We'll tackle that mystery later. Come on. Well, Matt, where are those weapons?
They're...
Commander, Mr. Henshaw's hurt.
My shoulder. I got clipped by a hook of metal from the hook.
The Hope's bullets.
I'll go after that rat.
Oh, wait, Happy. Hope and his pal may be waiting out there to pick us off. Gotta take care of Matt first. See if you can find a first aid kit.
Yes, sir.
100 yards away from the ancient ship, Hoke lowers his weapon and turns to Endicott.
If there is any fuel left in that old hulk, it must have deteriorated.
You probably got all three of them anyway. You sure riddled the hull.
Anyhow, they're scared, and now's our chance. Let's go.
Up over the mountain?
No, down. The way's clear now.
But you said there might be more space patrollers around here.
If Corey had anyone with him, they'd be up here by now. This is our way out. He must have a spaceship down at the base of the mountain. We'll get to it and blast off.
In a space patrol ship?
Sure, what could be safer? It'll at least get us off Venus.
Yeah. We can get another ship later, out in space.
Sure, and on the way down, we can pick up that thalanium.
Are you crazy? The two of us would have to make a dozen trips at least. By that time, Corey might come after us.
If he's still alive, which I doubt. Anyway, there's no risk. One of us will guard the trail while the other lugs thalanium down to the ship. Why leave a fortune like that up in the mountains?
Yeah, it's now or never, I guess. All right, let's go.
Back in the control compartment of the derelict spaceship, Commander Corey bandages Matt Henshaw's wounded shoulder.
Well, it's not a very professional job, Matt, but it's the best I can do under the circumstances.
It's fine, Commander. I figured I got off lucky. You take off after those crooks. I'll be all right here.
No, Matt, you've got to have medical attention. Happy and I are going to get you to our spaceship.
Just how do you think you're going to get me down the mountain? Can't walk. And I'm no hummingbird, believe me.
It'll be a rough journey, all right. Rough for all three of us, but especially for you, man. Now, wait. That stream out there.
Huh?
Flows right down the mountain to within a few hundred feet of our ship. If we can make a raft...
Yeah, but is the stream deep enough?
It's worth a try.
It's going to be some job finding logs.
We'll make a pontoon raft.
Out of what?
We'll empty a couple of those fuel drums and roll them down to the water. And we can lash a few poles to them with ropes.
After 2 hours of strenuous labor, Buzz and Happy assemble their makeshift raft. At last, they carry the injured Matt Henshaw down to the stream and place him gently on the bed of logs and saplings lashed securely to the empty fuel drums. Lifting, tugging, and shoving, they get the raft into the stream and climb aboard.
She rides pretty high in the water, sir.
It's going to be hard to maneuver in case we run into any rapids.
Don't worry about that, Commander. Stream's quieted down considerably since yesterday.
Are you comfortable, man?
Yeah, sure. This is real relaxing.
All right, Happy, take that pole and let's shove off.
Aye, aye, sir. Here we go.
Come on, Endicott. Just a little farther.
I don't think I can make it.
Yes, you can. This is the last trip. We'll load the bars and be on our way. Hey, look. There's Corey's ship down there, ready to take us to freedom.
Oh, my leg, my back. This bar weighs more than all the others put together.
Now, forget how tired you are. Just remember we'll never have to do another bit of work the rest of our lives.
Yeah, that's right, Hoke.
Hold it. Stop.
What is it?
Down at the edge of the water, I saw something. Something moved. There, you see?
Hey, space patrolmen. I saw their uniform. It was Corey and the Cadet.
They must have come down the stream.
They'll get to the ship before we do.
Now, don't get panicky, Endicott. One of them's hurt. We can't see them now on account of these trees, but when they come out of the trees, they'll have to cross the clearing to get to the ship. I can pick them off from here. Stay behind this rock and don't make a sound.
Don't miss, Hoke. We're so near to freedom. Don't miss.
They haven't got a chance.
We're nearly there, Matt. Yes, Mr. Henshaw. As soon as we get through these trees, you'll see the ship.
I sure am in a lot of trouble. It's the first time in my life I haven't been able to walk on my own 2 feet. Since I was a baby, of course.
Now put your weight on me, Matt.
I sure fixed your lead for you. Some hunting trip this turned out to be.
It wasn't your fault that Hoke Sherman escaped from the rehab center.
Maybe not, but if I hadn't been so careless as to get in the way of one of his bullets, you'd have caught up with him by now.
The minute we get aboard ship, I'll notify Venus City Space Patrol. They'll have search ships all over this mountain region.
Sure, Hoke and his pal Endicott won't have a chance.
Wait a minute. Hold it.
What's the matter?
Look over there to the right. Isn't that a pretty sight?
A bull elk.
Wow, look at that head and those antlers.
He's a big one, all right. First time I ever saw one down this close to my cabin. Well, Cadet, here's your chance.
Chance?
We're downwind of him. He's far enough away to make a fair sporting shot. Well, son, what are you waiting for?
Well,
You came here to go hunting, didn't you?
Yes, sir, but...
But what?
Well, I guess I've got too recent a memory of what it feels like to be shot at.
Commander?
Thanks, Matt. Some other time.
Fine couple of sportsmen you are. Fly several million miles to go hunting and throw away an opportunity like this. I'm proud of you.
Let's get to the ship, Matt.
Sure.
Hey, the elk must have heard us. He's turning his head.
Hit the dirt! You okay, Matt?
Yeah.
There goes the elk, bounding back into the trees. I guess he isn't hit. Hey, who shot at him?
Take a look up there on those rocks. See them through the trees?
Uh-oh.
Sherman.
Right. Lie still, Happy. Slide your gun over here to me.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Commander, you don't expect to pick those fellas off with that weapon at this distance, do you?
We can't get much closer without exposing ourselves. Here goes.
I think I know what's the matter, sir. I was in the water over my waist, and the gun got wet. Now we're in a fine mess. We can't possibly reach the ship.
Happy, your belt buckle is shiny. It would make a tempting target. Take it off and put it on the end of a stick. Wiggle it around so they can pick up the glint.
Draw their fire, you mean?
Yes, not too often. Just enough to keep them interested. Move around a little, but keep down.
Yes, sir.
Matt, you just lie there.
I think I see them. Something's gleaming among the trees close to the edge of the clearing. You see it?
Yeah, they're watching us.
You only hadn't fired that other shot.
How did I know it was an elk?
Oh, don't get sore, Hoke. I'm only saying it's too bad they were tipped off.
Shut up. I'm going to try again.
Did you get him?
I can't tell yet.
You missed, Hoke.
Corey!
Indicate. Hit him. I'll get him, Hoke.
All right, both of you, on your feet.
Okay, Corey.
Sure. Down to the ship, on the double.
Everything's okay back aft, Commander, except that Endicott and Hope Sherman don't look so good.
Evidently, space flying doesn't agree with them.
Well, anyway, not when they're being flown for reprocessing at the rehab center.
How you feeling, Matt? Shoulder okay?
It's dropping a little, that's all.
In a few minutes, you'll be at the best hospital in Venus City.
And we'll see that your thelanium is put in a safe place, Mr. Henshaw.
My thelanium?
There'll be a few formalities, of course, but after 150 years, no one's going to step forward and contest your claim. It's yours by right of discovery. You're a wealthy man, Matt.
Well, the three of us are alive. That's the important thing. Yep, we're alive thanks to the commander's nerve and my dumb luck.
Well, it wasn't all nerve and luck, Mr. Henshaw.
It was luck. Oak hadn't mistaken that elk for us. We'd have been shot without any warning.
Yeah, but suppose we had shot the elk the way we had a chance to.
Yes, you're right, Cadet. That wasn't luck. It was kindness.
Yeah, and the elk was just returning a favor.
An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. 1, 2, 3 kinds of fun at breakfast time. Space Patrollers, that's what you'll have the very first morning you start eating Chex, wheat Chex, or rice Chex. Because Chex are tops 3 ways, 3 wonderful ways. First, tops for taste. That's Chex, the only cereal that's toasted 3 times to make it crunchy as a cookie and 3 times as good. And second, Chex are tops for size, made in that modern bite-sized design for easy, happy eating. And third, Chex are tops for get up and go. Yes, a good breakfast with Chex gives you the kind of get up and go you gotta have to be a real space patroller. That's what Commander Corey says, and that makes it official. Makes Chex the official breakfast cereal of the Space Patrol. But unofficially, I can tell you Chex are mighty good right out of the box or right out of your pocket anytime you want a treat. Yes, breakfast time or any time, have yourself 3 kinds of fun with Chex. the cereal that's tops 3 wonderful ways. Tops for taste, tops for size, and tops for real get up and go. So go get 'em today. You'll love 'em. Chex, Wheat Chex, or Rice Chex. The only bite-sized cereals in the entire universe. The official cereals of the Space Patrol. And hey, here's a neat surprise. Swell Space Patrol trading cards. You get one free inside of every package of Wheat Chex and Rice Chex. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are hiding in the hold of a freighter piloted by a space pirate. Suddenly, waves of heat burst over them.
Wow, where's all that heat coming from?
The refrigeration system has broken down.
And every second we're getting closer to the sun. We'd better take over and change course before we suffocate.
It's worse danger than that in the next compartment.
Smoking rockets. Those chemicals.
Right. You get a few degrees hotter, they'll blow the ship to atoms.
Be sure to join us next week for the thrilling story, The Strange Case of Space Pilot Prentice, when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Len Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Debris. Other players were Ken Mayer, Bela Kovach, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufel speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Rice Chex and Wheat Chex again present Space Patrol! Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.